side of the wall, it would be over. However, Moronghuai was so smart. How could a time traveler like him make such a small mistake? He would have cleared the area long ago. There were only his own people outside, all of whom were his trusted aides cultivated over the years. Our World is a female-oriented novel. The protagonists are the current Huaimin County lady and your fifth brother Morongsheng. I was reborn as a vicious female supporting character with a tragic end, so I had to fight a lot when I first came here, so now the plot is all messed up. I can't guess where it's going to go next. I only know the endings of some characters. But now it seems that I can't guess the endings of these characters either. Morongsheng? How can a scheming boy like him be the protagonist? Why can he do that? Moronghuai heard that Lao Wu was the male lead. He immediately became dissatisfied. First traveled through time. It took him some time to accept his identity, and he was very low-key in everything he did and said. However, after he completely accepted his new identity, he began to think that he should not use this identity in vain. He couldn't come here for nothing, so he decided to become the emperor who ruled the world and give it a try. It would be worth it even if he failed. Perhaps it's because the protagonist created by the author is excellent in the eyes of the readers, but when we personally enter this world, what you see is the most real. Everyone has selfish desires, and there is no absolutely perfect person. Or perhaps it is because of our arrival that something has changed, but everyone has only one goal, which is to live beautifully in this world. This is Su Wan's personal opinion. Apart from that, she seems to have no words that can comfort herself. Moronghuai nodded approvingly and then said, "Tell me about the general plot of the book and how you have been in this world over the years, what you have done, and do you know what my fate is in the book?" he asked. As for his fate, Su Wan thought about it carefully and said, "You are at best a passerby in the book, and you don't appear many times. In the original novel, you are a salty prince, not fighting or competing, just wanting to be a qualified playboy. Your final ending is not bad, right? After Morongsheng became emperor, you took your mother and sister to the border fiefdom. You are also the only prince who died well in the war for the throne. Those who went against Morongsheng had a bad ending. Some died, some were disabled, and some even spent the rest of their lives in prison." Moronghuai felt a little sad when he heard about his fate. What good could a fiefdom on the border be? It was just to save his life. But when he heard the last sentence, Moronghuai suddenly shuddered. What do you mean he was the only prince who had a good ending? Does that mean all his brothers had bad endings? What the heck is there to say? He is so cruel and ruthless. If he becomes the emperor, I will have a hard time. I always targeted him in the military camp and stole his limelight. Don't be anxious. Let me tell you the direction of the original book, and then you can analyze it slowly. Su Wan asked him to be patient. Original book is the growth line from Guyu's perspective, the love story with Morongsheng, and the efforts made by the two to climb to a higher position. This requires mentioning some of the main characters in the book, such as the vicious female supporting character Su Wan, who appears in the early stages and is used as a contrast to highlight the good qualities of the heroine. Of course, as the second male lead, Jiang Yu is inferior to the male lead in every way, but in Su Wan's heart, Jiang Yu's character is invincible. And the five brothers of the Su family are complete tools. They seem to have no independent thoughts. They only know how to pamper Guyu, support her, and use her. Su Wan now thinks that it was all the author's deliberate creation of characters. In her writing, the characters have lost their souls and the right to express their own emotions. Instead, if she makes him angry, he has to be angry. Perhaps all paper people are like this, so only when you enter this world and come into contact with it, you will see the real people, some good and some bad, with their own thoughts and joys and sorrows. And Morongsheng was able to ascend the throne smoothly because of the help of these people. Guyu provided him with financial resources, Jiang Yu provided him with troops, Su Jing negotiated for him in the court, and Su Chun was an emotionless killer. Just the icing on the cake, adding a few more layers of brilliance to Guyu. The novel reaches the middle and late stages, which is when the character of Su Wan has already died, and everything exists for Guyu. As for Moronghuai, he is a cannon fodder, used to carry out the plot. He is pulled out when needed, and each time he appears, the description does not exceed 300 words. He is a full prince, and his existence is only to highlight Morongsheng's wisdom. After hearing the rest, Moronghwai was so angry that he almost died. Why was Morongsheng so cool and awesome? He was just an ordinary cannon fodder. It was so unfair. I finally understand. I am dispensable in the book. The reason I have a good ending is because I am a fool and pose no threat. You are written as a vicious female supporting role, and you can only save yourself and redeem yourself. After listening to what you said, I found that it was not easy for you. You even straightened some crooked teeth with your bare hands. He mentioned probably refer to Su Jing's future, Su Yun's deformed feelings, and Jiang Yu's fate as a tool. It's okay, mainly because I have a bird's eye view, otherwise I don't know what it would be like now. Fortunately, she had a golden finger. Others use space systems when traveling through time, but she has a god's perspective when traveling through books. That's pretty good, and she is content. That's true, but I think that since all of us paper people have souls, then in our own eyes, we are the protagonists. Now the plot is ruined, as you said, and I also changed the plot. To tell you the truth, when I first accepted the fact of the time travel, I just thought that I couldn't be so mediocre. I had to plan something for myself, so I thought about joining the army and fighting Morongsheng. Now my popularity has overshadowed him, but I didn't expect that I would bring his NPC to my side. The NPCs he was referring to were Jiang Yu and Su Chen. When he first saw their performance on the battlefield and their impressive martial arts skills, out of a man's normal admiration for them, he wanted to make friends with them. Unexpectedly, these friends he made with such sincerity turned out to be the main characters in the book. You mean Jiang Yu and Su Chen, right? I have to warn you, although we are from the same place, they are very important to me in this world, and you are not allowed to use them to hurt them. Su Wan would not be blinded by excitement and ignore even his own brother and the person he likes. Moronghwai shrugged after hearing this. Hey, I guess we are good citizens in the 21st century who have received 12 years of compulsory education and 4 years of education at a prestigious university, but we are so despicable in your eyes, right? Seeing his accusing look, Su Wan burst out laughing. She also understood what Moronghwai meant. His original decision was simply to fight for himself and make some plans. After all, as a man who traveled through time from the 21st century and became a prince, how could he not have some ambitions and pursuits? Moreover, Moronghwai is a modern man, so his insights and strategies are naturally better than those of the ancients. No, I understand what you mean, but you and Morongsheng are on opposite sides now, so you have to be careful. You are now one of his opponents, the kind that can pose a threat, and you never know when he might trick you. He wants to fight for the throne. Can Su Wan stop him? My current identity is legitimate, okay? For Su Wan, as long as it doesn't affect her life, it doesn't matter. Moronghwai wants to fight, let her fight. Anyway, she doesn't want Morongsheng to be the emperor. If Guyu becomes the queen, she will not have a good life. The only way is to let Moronghwai become the emperor. Moronghwai is a man of the 21st century. He has advanced thoughts and ideas. If he becomes emperor, he might really be able to lead a dynasty towards greater prosperity. After all, we are modern people, and our thinking will not be as rigid as that of the ancients. However, whether he is suitable to be an emperor still needs further observation. Even though he, like Su Wan, has traveled through time from the future, Su Wan will not believe him 100%. I can only say that they sympathize with each other. When she thinks that she is not the only one in this world, she feels comforted. Moronghwai is now her special friend. Don't worry, after today's meeting, we are considered family. In this strange world, let's help each other. Come, after drinking this cup of tea, we will be good friends. If you have any problems, let me know. As a prince, I can still do a lot of things. I understand what you mean. I won't force anyone to stand on my side. I will rely on my own abilities to gain everyone's recognition. People who come from modern times have correct values and will not use any means to gain anyone's support. Moronghwai firmly believes that his abilities are the result of real hard work, and there will always be people who can recognize his talent. His tone and attitude were sincere, and Suwon was willing to make friends with him. So, he drank the cup of tea. The two people are at different heights and have different standpoints, so they will not be opponents and can certainly be friends. I'm not a very smart person, but if you think highly of me, I'm willing to help you if you have any problems, as long as they don't violate my bottom line. Suwon's bottom line is her family and the people she cares about. As long as it does not affect their own interests, she is willing to help. It is not a bad idea to let Morong-hwai be the emperor. Anyway, it seems that Morong-shung is no longer suitable to be the emperor. If Morong-hwai had not traveled through time, he might still be the chosen son of God. But God loves to play jokes. Bugs appear one after another. No one knows what Singuyu and Morong-shung have committed. The two of them drank tea and became good friends. This was also a secret between them. Behind the scenes, they were good friends who appreciated each other from another world. In front of others, they were still a noble prince and a respected princess, and they could not act too familiar with each other. Morong-hwai also treated Suwon as his own and told her directly about his ambition. He wanted to be the emperor. Said so bluntly, and laughed. You said these treasonous words to me. Aren't you afraid that I will stab you in the back? The current emperor is still alive, and you want to be the emperor. Suwon lowered his voice and complained quietly. Morong-hwai raised an eyebrow and said disapprovingly, As I said before, I am an idle fish with aspirations. Don't worry, I am better than Morong-shung anyway. And I believe that we are both highly educated people in the 21st century. The situation is there, and our goals are different. I want to climb high, and you want peace. If I succeed in the future, all of your dreams will not be difficult to achieve. If I die in the future, I may not be able to control it, but as long as I am alive, your Su family will be able to live in peace. I can guarantee that you will live a carefree life in this strange world. He is really open-minded. He told her everything right away, and it seems that he really trusts her. Suwon could understand that if she were a man and traveled through time to Morong-hwai's position, she would make the same choice as him. After all, the trip would not be in vain, and she had to leave a mark in this world, right? Unfortunately, she started out as an unknown cannon fodder female supporting role, without any status blessing. She has come to where she is today through her own efforts. It's good enough to have reached this point, and she should be content. I don't have any big pursuits. I don't ask for a sensational or famous life, but I just want to live a beautiful life with a clear conscience. Today's meeting went very smoothly. It is comfortable to talk to modern people. You don't need to worry about saying something wrong, and you can play with memes as you like. Suwon told Morong-hwai how he died. After hearing this, he widened his eyes in surprise. So you are the unlucky one. Your story has been reported. The short video has received over 1 million likes and tens of millions of views. When I saw this video, I also clicked the like button. The way Suwon died was quite strange. He was standing fine in the gold shop, but was hit to death by a car. How unlucky was that? If he could see, he would definitely see the several black lines on Suwon's forehead, which had become tangled into a ball. My family members, I really have no words to say. Should I be happy that the highlight of my life is actually being killed? She said was so humorous that Morong-hwai couldn't stop laughing. I don't know how long it has been since I laughed so heartily in front of others. As a member of the royal family, I have to pay attention to my image all the time when I am outside. I cannot let others see my weaknesses. I also have to argue with them in the court. It's really tiring. I'm afraid that after working so hard for so long, you'll suddenly fail miserably. It would be fun if the emperor then dislikes you and kicks you out of the list of heirs. Of course, when he was in the military camp with Jiangyu and Su Chen, he could still be himself most of the time. He also learned that Jiangyu and Suwon's love started because of Suwon's redemption. No wonder that guy loved her so much. The 21st century shines brightly in another world. How many people can withstand it? But then again, outstanding girls are always popular. Morong-hwai still admired Suwon very much because he knew that he was telling the truth. Unlike him, although he was admitted to a prestigious university, he let himself go after he relaxed. He stayed up all night in the dormitory playing games with his roommates and failed courses as frequently as he changed clothes. He was nothing. I regret not having read enough books when I need them. I should have read them thoroughly. You're really interesting. Maybe I'll be reported too, with a headline like, "A male college student was surfing alone on the sea and died on the bottom of the sea." He muttered, somewhat helplessly. You have nothing to worry about. I still have family in the modern world. I'm afraid my parents must have cried themselves blind. Fortunately, they have 2 sons and my brother is also very successful. At least I won't be gone, and no one will take care of them in their old age. Perhaps this is the only consolation. Fortunately, I am not an only child. Otherwise, what would my parents do? Since you are here, you should make the best of it. You also have your mother here. Imperial concubine Chen looks fine. Soo-won had met Imperial concubine Chen once, and she looked quite gentle. He just didn't know if they would fight to the death in the palace fight. My mother is a stupid beauty. She is completely protected by my father. If it weren't for my father, I don't know how many times she would have been framed. This was the conclusion Morong Hwai came to after spending so much time with concubine Chen. His mother was very simple and Buddhist, and she was able to survive to this day only because of the honor and favor she received. You are truly a biological son. If your mother knew that you were complaining about her like this, she would be so angry, Soo-won deliberately joked. I dare to say this because he is my biological son. My mother is very kind and gentle to me. She always responds to my requests. Otherwise, I would not have such a reputation before. Morong Hwai vaguely recalled the incredulous expression on his mother's face when he returned from the battlefield with honor. She saw herself. She seemed to not recognize herself. She complained, "Oh my God, I've only heard of thunder making people stupid, but never heard of it making people smart? Is this really my son?" That's right. The 7th Prince Morong Hwai was struck by lightning 4 years ago. He didn't die, but he was ill for a long time. After that, the current Morong Hwai took over. Seeing that he had been out for such a long time, Soo-won thought that it was time for him to go back. For now, their interests did not conflict, and they would not become opponents. It would be quite interesting to be good friends and chat with each other. Soo-won and Morong Hwai chatted for such a long time, but she also remembered the time, so she left when it was almost time. Morong Hwai did not ask anyone to see her off. Instead, he would leave half an hour later in the evening to avoid causing any misunderstanding. Soo-won returned to the Soo mansion with Lu Yun and Lu Ying in a good mood, humming a song intermittently. For the next half-month, she accompanied her mother Soo every day to prepare for her eldest brother's wedding. The whole house was filled with festive atmosphere, with red silk hung everywhere and wedding characters posted on the wall. Soo-moo has already written a marriage certificate for Sun Linger and prepared a betrothal gift himself. It is not as generous as the one prepared by his elder brother because the two of them plan to hold the wedding in a low-key manner. Sun Linger didn't want to be too ostentatious, and Dr. Sun also said that it was just a formality. As long as the etiquette and rules were in place, the amount of the betrothal gift didn't matter. They were not a wealthy family, so they didn't care about these things. But despite this, Soo's mother still added some to Soo-moo's betrothal gift list. A 3-story house was bought in Kyoto. Sun Linger's name was written on the title deed, and the betrothal gifts were sent directly to the house. The couple's wedding date was set for the end of September, and they chose a good day that was suitable for getting married. There are many good things happening this year. What Soo's father and mother hope to see most is that their sons get married quickly and have a few children to take care of while they are still strong. Soo Jing is already 26 years old, and it is finally time for him to get married. After the eldest son got married, the second son got married, but the third, fourth, and fifth son still don't know where their wives are. At first, Soo-moo felt that it was too rushed. He was afraid that Dr. Sun would be reluctant to part with his granddaughter, so he planned to postpone the marriage for 2 years. Unexpectedly, Dr. Sun was very supportive of their early marriage because he was old and wanted to see his granddaughter have a good home during his lifetime. It would be even better if he had a few great-grandchildren. Soo-moo listened to his master and mistress very much. He would stay in Kyoto this year, and stay there for a few years after getting married. After he had children, he would return to Zhongzhou to live and return to his roots. They also took into consideration that Sue's mother might not want to leave her child, so they planned to live in Kyoto for a few years after marriage. Dr. Sun and Grandma Yi are already over 60 years old. They are really half buried in the ground and are no longer fit to run around. Although they look strong now, don't many people die in their sleep? At this age, even if you close your eyes at night, you don't know if you can see the sun tomorrow. Living one more day means earning one more day. Su Mu and Sun Linger were both very filial, so they did not hesitate and agreed to the idea of marriage between the two families. They had already gone through the official documents and completed the 3 books and 6 ceremonies, and now they were just waiting for the wedding in September. Therefore, Sun Linger had to avoid suspicion before marriage and took her grandparents to live in the house that the Su family bought specifically for her. From a modern perspective, the Su family is a good home with good conditions. As soon as I got married, I had a house and a car, and my husband was very filial and reliable. The love story between Su Mu and Sun Linger is full of sweetness. The stubborn and old-fashioned little doctor vs. the quirky and mischievous girl. The former is a bit slow in responding to matters of the heart, and Sun Linger has to guide him, setting traps and teasing him from time to time, making the straight man fall deeply in love and unable to extricate himself. In the original novel, Sun Linger appears in almost all of the few plots that describe the second brother. The two are inseparable. Sun Linger falls in love with the second brother at first sight, and the second brother falls in love with her over time. It's so sweet. Their love story had no twists and turns and was very smooth along the way. It was only a matter of time before they got together. The wedding date was set for early May. The day before the wedding, the Shin family would host a banquet to marry off their daughter, and the next day would be the main day for the Su family. The older brother became more nervous at such times. Mother Su asked him to try on the wedding dress, which fit him perfectly. He looked even more majestic than the bright red top scholar gown he wore when he returned home in glory that day. Because he will be able to marry his beloved girl soon. Oh my Ah Jing looks so energetic in this red wedding dress. It looks so beautiful. God bless us. Our Su family is really lucky. When Sue's mother saw her eldest son wearing wedding clothes, she was so happy. Other people's grandchildren are old enough to go out and buy tofu, but she has no grandchildren yet. She doesn't care. She wants grandchildren, both grandchildren and grandchildren. She loves them all. 1 or 2 is not too few, 3 or 4 would be even better, haha. The whole family was happy for Su Jing, and everyone was in high spirits. Su Wan even found a tailor and had someone come to the Su mansion last month to make clothes for everyone so that they could wear something decent and luxurious on the day of their eldest brother's wedding. Dusk, Jiang Yu came back and Jiang Yunhe was with him. The purpose of this trip to Zhongzhou was firstly to visit my grandfather and secondly to bring the betrothal gift that my grandfather had prepared for Su Wan. Then, I could send it together with the betrothal gift prepared by the Duke John's mansion to the Su mansion for proposal. My grandfather is old and not suitable for traveling, so he asked Jiang Yunhe to represent him in proposing. The 2 children get married in the future. He will come in person to be a witness. Whenever Jiang Yu returned to Kyoto, he would wear a mask wherever he went. No one in Kyoto, even the second wife of Duke Jiang and his second son Jiang Yan, had ever seen his true face. He was very mysterious. Only the Su family and Morongsheng and Moronghua from the royal family knew about it. Su Wan was quite surprised to see him at this time. He had no problem entering the Su mansion this time because Jiang Yunhe didn't want to live in Duke Zhang's mansion or Furong Cottage, but he thought it was too quiet. So the only option was the Su mansion. After all, his apprentice is here, and he hasn't seen him for several years. He is also missing this bad boy. The moment Su Chen saw his master, he was so excited that he was speechless. He rushed up and gave him a bear hug. "Master," he shouted, his tone unable to hide his excitement. "You little jerk, be gentle. I'm old. How can I withstand what you're doing?" Jiang Yunhe joked. All in all, he is only in his 40s this year, about the same age as Su's father. How come he can't bear it after just hugging him? Su Chen quickly let go of Jiang Yunhe, then rubbed his head embarrassedly. I haven't seen you for a long time, right? I'm so excited. He originally thought that after his eldest brother's wedding was over, he would take leave and go to Zhengzhou to visit his master, but he didn't expect that his master would come by himself. Jiang Yunhe is Su Chen's mentor, which means he is a distinguished guest of the Su family. Su's mother ordered the servants to prepare an unused small courtyard for Mr. Jiang to rest. Jiang Yunhe was also very happy to see his disciple, but he still paid great attention to etiquette and brought many gifts when he visited. Master Su, Madam Su, I am sorry to have to bother you for a few days. This is just a small token of my appreciation. It is not a token of respect. The gifts brought to the door, there are also gifts for Su Jing's wedding. Mr. Jiang is so polite. You are Su Chen's mentor. Just treat this place as your own home. We used to live in the same village for more than 10 years. We have a bond. You have helped our family a lot in the past, and we will always remember it. In the past, the Su family was poor and he and his wife were not at home. Later, he found out that because of Su Chen, every time Jiang Yunhe caught something good, he would ask Su Chen to take some back for a snack at home, saying that it was what he deserved after helping to slaughter the animals so that the children of the Su family could eat without burden. It's because the child has a promising future and is willing to work hard that he has achieved what he has today. It's a great achievement for me to have such a disciple in my lifetime, haha. Jiang Yunhe looked at Su Chen with eyes full of pride and smiled brightly. Then, he looked at Su Wan, who was standing aside. The last time they met was last year. Unexpectedly, this girl became more and more beautiful. He didn't know what good fortune this boy Jiang Yu had. Ever since Jiang Yu entered the door and saw the Su family, his eyes have been looking at Su Wan with tenderness. Su Wan felt embarrassed by her gaze and could only lower his head, his ears slightly red. My goodness, no matter how thick-skinned you are, you can't stand a stare. Su Yun had long discovered that Jiang Yu had ill intentions and had been staring at Wan since he entered the room. So he simply pulled Su Wan's hand and asked her to stand behind him, blocking Jiang Yu's sight. Afterwards, he looked at Jiang Yu provocatively. This Su Yun, when things are good to you, he treats you like a brother, but when it comes to Su Wan, he becomes as stingy as a jerk. Jiang Yu raised his eyebrows helplessly. It seemed that he would suffer a lot from these 5 brothers of the Su family in the future. After arranging Jiang Yunhe's accommodation, everyone went back to their own work. Su Chen went specially to accompany his master to reminisce the past. Su Yun's Chenglu is scheduled to open in mid-May and is now preparing for promotion. Chenglu is not an inn. If it combines dining and accommodation, as soon as it opens, many restaurants in Kyoto will face bankruptcy. Chenglu was in Xiangzhou. Many restaurants went bankrupt. The business was monopolized by Chenglu. Restaurants with similar strength to Chenglu were instantly defeated and lost all their money. The other brothers of the Su family were arranged to entertain Jiang Yu. He was the eldest son of Duke Jiang. Su's mother and father still felt a little restrained when they saw him. Used to think that he was just an ordinary son of a merchant family in Kyoto, but I never expected that he was actually the prince of the Duke's mansion. I'm sorry for not welcoming you, Prince Jiang. If we're not welcoming you well, please forgive me. Su Jing sat in his seat, looking at Jiang Yu with a smile. Sitting in the main seat were Su's father and mother. When they heard their eldest son speak in such a sarcastic tone, they felt a pang in their hearts. Jiang Yu was helpless. What should he do if his brother-in-law was not very friendly to him? I used to call him a you, but now I call him Prince. That seems too strange. No, the Su family has been very kind to me, and Aunt Su treats me like her own son. How could I dislike them? Jiang Yu's shameless smile made Su Yun roll his eyes. Upon hearing this, Su's mother quickly said, Ayu, just treat this place as your own home. Come whenever you want. Auntie welcomes you at any time. She was quite satisfied with Jiang Yu, and she agreed to have him as her son-in-law. Before, she just thought that this boy was very capable and protected their Su family very well. As the saying goes, the more the mother-in-law sees her son-in-law, the more she likes him. However, the second wife of the Duke's mansion doesn't seem easy to get along with. If Su Wan marries her, will she be wronged? But she may have forgotten that her daughter is not the type to suffer injustice. Normally, if anything is said, she will retort on the spot. Don't forget, she is a princess now. It is more than enough for her to deal with a concubine. Her status can crush her. Yes, Ayu, we are all family. When we were in Xiangzhou before, we treated you as our own family. You can come to the Su mansion anytime you want. Even if you want to live here, it's no problem. These words were spoken by Su's father. After he finished speaking, the 4 sons in the family all looked at Su's father and mother, who were sitting at the top. Wow, this guy is really good at letting a wolf into the house. Now, only the brothers are still awkward about Jiangyu and Su Wan's affairs. Su's father and mother have long regarded him as their son-in-law. Then I'll respectfully obey your command. Jiangyu raised a bright smile. It doesn't matter. The biggest hurdle has been overcome. Let his brothers target him as they please. As long as he can marry Wanwan, he will accept it. Su Wan was not in the reception room, but returned to her own yard. However, she was still thinking about Jiangyu in her heart. She hadn't seen him for more than a month. That guy is being harassed by his brothers and probably can't get away. I'm afraid I won't see him today. But she didn't expect that she had a mother who was a great helper to her. Su's mother knows her daughter very well. She has been through it herself and can understand her feelings and her desire to see her loved one. So, she arranged for her brothers to do the work and then left the opportunity to Jiangyu, asking him to find Su Wan. Jiangyu walked in the Su mansion openly this time. Although he had only been here once, he was already familiar with the layout of the Su mansion, and he found Su Wan's Farong pavilion very easily. Su Wan was swinging on the swing and didn't notice that someone had appeared behind him. Lu Yun and Lu Ying disappeared without a trace. Lu Yun, push me hard, I want to try something exciting. Su Wan wanted to swing the swing high and experience the exciting feeling of weightlessness. Behind him, a big hand pushed the swing, and it immediately swung very high.
Su Wan shouted excitedly.
Higher, higher. She felt it was not high enough and continued to give instructions. It can't be any higher. It can only be this high. A familiar voice sounded behind her. Su Wan turned around quickly and saw that the swing was still swinging. She lost her grip and fell backwards. She screamed in fright and closed her eyes. The expected pain did not come, but I fell into a solid and warm embrace. Jiangyu hugged her with one hand and used the other hand to steady the shaking swing. Su Wan opened her eyes and found that it was Jiangyu, who was smiling at her tenderly. You are so old, but you are still so reckless? Su Wan broke free from his arms and looked at him in confusion. It was already night. Why was he still here? You haven't left yet? I thought you went back home. Jiangyu nodded. I wanted to come and see you before I left. Just now? Su Wan muttered softly when he heard it. Jiangyu would not be satisfied with just a glance at her. What he wanted was to be alone with her for a while, even if it was just to sit together quietly. Missing someone is like an invisible big hand. When a person has worries in his heart, that big hand will always pull him from time to time, intensifying the longing in his heart that is about to burst out. Or, just stay here tonight and go with Big Brother to pick up the bride tomorrow. Just now, Su Jing had invited him. Since he was here, and it was so late today, he would go to pick up the bride tomorrow. Shin Qingli had someone pass on a message saying that the eldest brother of the Shin family had returned and had arranged many talented men and beautiful women to block the door. He was also waiting for many difficult problems, so he should be mentally prepared. Tomorrow, Su Jing would have to overcome many difficulties before he could win the beauty. Jiangyu happened to catch up and was drafted into the army and was scheduled to join the team to break through the pass the next day. Are you going too? Su Wan looked at him in surprise, which meant that he was going to be his elder brother's best man. But it's also true that everyone is so familiar with each other, and they used to be like brothers. Although Su Jing minds the matter between him and his sister, and has never told him for such a long time, his friendship with Jiangyu remains unchanged. Therefore, it is understandable to invite Jiangyu to accompany him to pick up the bride. After nightfall, the entire Su mansion was illuminated by red lanterns, creating a warm atmosphere of joy. Well, I'm going too. Are you surprised? He pulled Soo-won to sit on the stone bench in the yard. It's not surprising. It's great. Our Soo family hasn't held a wedding banquet for a long time. This time, my eldest brother and sister Shin are finally married. I'm happy for them. From tomorrow on, I'll have a sister-in-law. There was actually a hint of pride in Soo-won's expression. He knew it clearly in his heart before, but due to etiquette, he couldn't call her sister-in-law. From now on, he can call her that openly. My eldest and second sisters-in-law are both remarkable people. One is a talented lady from the capital, a lady from a famous family, and the other is the descendant of a divine doctor with unparalleled wisdom. In the future, there will be third, fourth, and fifth sisters-in-law, and they will surely be outstanding people as well. Seeing her boastful expression, Jong-yu just looked at her and smiled. That was great. These people would be his family in the future. Before he met Soo-won, he felt very lonely. After meeting her, that feeling of loneliness became more and more distant from him. I went to Zhongzhou this time and brought the betrothal gifts that your grandfather prepared for you to Kyoto. However, this betrothal gift must be given to you privately. Only the gift from the Duke's mansion can be given to you openly. I hope you don't mind. I'm afraid that if the ceremony is too grand, it will cause unnecessary suspicion and trouble. Taboos in Kyoto. If a family like the Duke's mansion brings two betrothal gifts together to the Soo mansion, I'm afraid there won't be enough space to put them all on the two streets. This overwhelming wealth will bring about a lot of trouble. The censors in the court are all worried about not having enough achievements. If the time comes, they will jointly impeach the Duke's mansion for abusing their power for personal gain and giving it some unfounded accusations. The fear is that it will implicate the Soo family. Soo-won understood and nodded obediently. She knew that Jong-yu was doing this for her own good, but he also wanted to give her the best to show his sincerity and respect. Therefore, these things only need to be understood by the Soo family themselves, and there is no need for others to see them. Does your father know about us? Soo-won suddenly asked a question that caught Jong-yu off guard. He hadn't mentioned this matter to Duke Jeong yet. Firstly, the relationship between father and son was not good. It should be said that Jong-yu had a grudge against him. Whenever they were under the same roof, they never spoke more than 10 sentences. Secondly, Duke Jeong spent most of his time training in the military camp, and the father and son had few opportunities to meet, and he had never asked about Jeong-yu's marriage. I'll find a time to talk to him. My marriage is my own decision. Don't worry, Wan-wan. After we get married, we don't need to live in the Duke's mansion. We can move out. Or I can live with you in the Soo mansion for a long time. Jong-yu had already made up his mind. He wouldn't care what others thought of him. As long as Soo-won was happy, that was all that mattered. How could Soo-won not be moved when she heard him say that? Living in the Soo mansion in the future, what's the difference between that and being a live-in son-in-law? It's also about a man's dignity and face. I'm afraid he will become a joke in Kyoto in the future. Moreover, even if he is willing, would Duke Jeong be willing? If his son moves out to live with his parents-in-law after getting married, wouldn't that be a slap in his face? Would your father, Duke Jeong, agree to this? I'm afraid he would break your legs. He won't. The relationship between him and me is weak. He never took care of me since I was a child. Besides, I am not his only son. From Jong-yu's words that he has a lot of dissatisfaction with his father. Those who are involved are often confused, while those who are not involved can see things more clearly. In fact, Duke Jeong's position on Jong-yu is very firm. At least for so many years, he's been sitting firmly in the position of the crown prince. His so-called other son has always existed as a jerk son. It can be said that he gave enough dignity to the late Mrs. Jeong and Jong-yu. Duke Jeong must care about his son. After all, he is the child of his beloved woman. Soo-won had never met Duke Jeong, so she couldn't make any comment, but she had to admit that a man who is so well regarded by the people and soldiers couldn't be that bad. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Can you give me a hug? Jong-yu stood up, walked to Soo-won, then gently supported her head, hugged her, and let her head rest under his ribs. I haven't seen her for more than a month. I miss this little girl so much. Soo-won also stretched out his hand and put his arm around Jeong-yu's waist. She could feel how good the man's body was, and his abdominal muscles were so hard that she wanted to pinch them.
Ah, ba, ba.
What was she thinking about? As she was thinking, she went off track. They hugged each other quietly for a while, and then chatted sweetly. Jeong-yu didn't kiss her tonight. Maybe he felt embarrassed to be in this yard with the stars above his head. Stayed at the Soo mansion tonight, living in the same yard with Soo-chun. Anyway, the two of them often slept together in the military camp. After Soo-chun had a fight with Jeong-yu last time, he silently accepted the blow from him, and the resentment in his heart dissipated a lot. Forget it. If I have to choose someone to be my brother-in-law in the future, it would be better to choose Jeong-yu. The first day of May is the day when Soo Jing of the Soo family marries Shin Qingli, the third lady of the Grand Secretary's family. In the morning, and the Soo family got up early. The banquet tables in the mansion had already been set up, and everything for entertaining guests in the back garden and front yard was ready. The Soo family married the first daughter-in-law, who was also the legitimate daughter of a Grand Secretary. They could not lose her dignity, so all the specifications were of the best, so as not to lose face. Red silk wedding characters could be seen everywhere. Soo Jing's yard was decorated like a bridal chamber, and the couch in the room was covered with peanuts, longans, and red dates. They are also piled up into small towers on the plate, placed steadily. Soo Jing changed into his groom's wedding suit early in the morning. The crown on his head was very gorgeous. It was a reward from the emperor, who had specially asked court craftsmen to make it for him when he heard that he was going to get married. Golden hair crown with a tassel chain made Soo Jing look precious. It was the first time that Soo-won saw such a noble elder brother. Usually, he looked like a modest gentleman, gentle as jade, and his clothes were very simple. But there is no doubt that if Soo Jing dresses up well, he is not inferior to any noble son. He has an innate temperament, which shows that his life is extraordinary. Soo-won was also wearing a purple gauze skirt with crabapple flowers embroidered with gold thread today. The crabapple flowers at the corners of the skirt were clustered together, which looked very beautiful. Soo Jing took the auspicious time and went to the Shin mansion with the wedding procession to pick up the bride. The four brothers of the Soo family and Jeong-yu all followed Soo Jing on horseback. They were all dressed decently, but they would not overshadow Soo Jing. Today I accompanied Soo Jing to pick up the bride and went through many difficulties. Ceremonial band played gongs and drums along the way and set off firecrackers from time to time. Ordinary people on the street stopped by the roadside to watch the fun and talked about this wedding with great relish. It was said to be a match made in heaven. Their love story had already spread throughout Kyoto. Just as Soo-won had said before, Third Miss Shin and Minister Soo hit it off at first sight and fell in love with each other again. Unfortunately, number one scholar Soo was transferred to Schwanha at that time and could not return to Beijing for several years. Third Miss Shin was already of marriageable age, but she was still waiting patiently. Number one scholar completed his great cause and proposed to Third Miss when he returned. The lovers finally got married. The two families were considered to be of equal status. One family had produced a second-rank minister, a fourth-rank military general, and a princess who was generous to the people and had a kind heart. It is said that perfect couples are made in heaven, and good people should be a family. The Shin mansion was still decorated with lights and red silks hung everywhere. Many noble ladies from Kyoto came to Shin Qingli's boudoir to add to her makeup. After the bride is picked up, they will go to the Soo mansion to attend the wedding banquet. The brothers and sisters of the Shin family came back. Even the half-sisters came back and politely added to Shin Qingli's makeup. They are concubines' daughters and have to rely on the support of the Grand Secretary's mansion. Now that the third sister is marrying Minister Soo, the family of Minister Soo is also of good status. By building a good relationship with the third sister, she can have another viable network of contacts. The eldest brother of the Shin family, who is also Shin Qingli's biological brother, came back from faraway Huizhou to attend his sister's wedding and send her off. He has been appointed prefect of Huizhou, and he will be transferred back to Beijing in 2 years at most. This time when he came back, the Shin family had a small reunion. The eldest brother of the Shin family was still very satisfied with Su Jing. His ability to manage the Xian River well showed his ability. He had already known that the people in the Su family were very good and capable. Mrs. Shin cried several times today, always wiping her tears quietly. Looking at my daughter in her red and green wedding gown, with a phoenix crown and bridal attire, she was so beautiful beyond words. Shin Qingli is almost 20 years old. In modern times, she is still young, but in ancient times, she would be an old maid. She has received a lot of criticism over the years, but she doesn't take it seriously. As long as she can live a good life in the future, what's wrong with getting married later? It is said that it is difficult to have both in this world. A woman with a good family background may not marry a good husband, and a woman with a good husband may not marry a good family background. But she is both. Is she a winner in life? Shin Qingli looked at her crying mother, and her eyes also turned red. Don't worry, mother. I will come back to see you often. Nonsense, since you're going to your husband's house. You should put your husband's house first in everything you do. Be filial to your parents-in-law, support your husband, be friendly to your sisters, and take care of the inner house. Don't always think about running back home. Your parents-in-law are simple and kind people. You should respect them well when you marry into the Su family. Princess Xuanla is your best friend, and you'll be your sister-in-law in the future. I believe you can get along well with her. The brothers-in-law of the Su family are all promising and capable people. As the eldest sister-in-law, you should set a good example for the relationship between sisters-in-law in the future. Do you understand? Mrs. Shun has said these words to her daughter many times, but Shin Qingli always listened patiently. Qingli, you are the youngest daughter of our family, and you are the apple of everyone's eye. But now you are going to be married, and you have to change the bad temper and bad habits you have developed at home. People have entrusted the household chores to you, and you will be responsible for the family. You can't be bad-tempered anymore, understand? Mrs. Shun finished speaking. The Grand Secretary came again, and Shin Qingli was helpless. It was Brother Shen who felt sorry for his sister and retorted, Father and Mother, are Qingli married into the Su mansion to enjoy life, not to be a servant? I agree that she should be filial to her parents-in-law, support her husband, and be friendly to her brothers and sisters. But if she is wronged, our Shin family will not tolerate it. Pa, look at what you said. Is your brother-in-law so untrustworthy? I know, aging. He is the most caring child, and the Su family's parents are so kind. How can our Qingli be wronged if she marries him? Mrs. Shin really trusts Su Jing and thinks highly of the son-in-law. Well, Su Jing is also a student I have taught. I know his character. Princess Xuanla donated her family property for the sake of Jin's state. Doesn't this prove how good the Su family's education is? In short, we are all relieved that Qingli will marry into the Su family. All the brothers in the world who love their sisters will be dissatisfied with their sister's sweetheart. Even if they admit it in their hearts, they will still say a few sour words. Brother, isn't it the same for the 5 brothers in the Su family? Jiang Yu was almost squeezed to death. Master, Madam, the son-in-law is almost here. We can get ready. The nanny beside Madam Shun came to report. Shin Qingli heard the voice. Her face turned red with nervousness and shyness. The maid quickly helped her cover the tassel curtain on her hair crown, and then brought her a peacock fan for her to use to cover her face. Everyone be ready. Don't show mercy to my brother-in-law. Show off your best skills and give him a good test. At the command from the eldest brother of the Shin family, the talented men and women took their positions and prepared to block the door. The Grand Secretary and Madame Shen went to the front hall to receive the wedding party first, while the eldest brother of the Shin family brought his support group to block the way, requiring Su Jing to pass layers of tests before he could take the bride away. Today, Su Jing also has talented people and generals with great martial arts skills, so he should be able to pass the test. As for the Shin family, at most they prepared a lot of riddles, poems, or songs for him to answer. Of course, there are also people who know martial arts, and they want to compete on the spot. When Shin Qingli heard that Su Jing was here and saw her brother's aggressive look, She quickly grabbed one of her half-sisters. "Big sister, can you please ask your brother not to make things too difficult for them? They haven't even entered the house yet, but they've already protected each other." Miss Shin couldn't help but find it funny and joked, "If it's not difficult today, then when will it be difficult? Are you going to wait until you bring your son-in-law back home in the future before making it difficult?" Shun Qingli blushed and didn't know how to answer. "Okay, don't worry. No matter how much my elder brother embarrasses him, he can't make you miss the auspicious time. The auspicious time for the wedding has been chosen, and there is also a time limit. When the time comes, the wedding must be carried out." Su Jing paid his respects to his father-in-law and mother-in-law, while Su Mu held a plate of small purses, all of which were small red cloth bags sewn together, each worth 5 taels of silver. When the ladies came to the door to ask for good luck, he would use these to get rid of them. There is no need to confer too many titles, just follow the rules. This is the standard in Kyoto. Under the emperor's feet, who would deliberately show off. Even if it's only 5 taels, there are hundreds of purses worth more than 500 taels, which is enough. Su Jing brought his best men to the courtyard where Shin Qingli was getting married. The entrance was very lively, and Brother Shin was already waiting at the gate with his men. As soon as they approached, the ladies insisted on giving wedding money before they would open the door. Su Mu handed the tray to the maid guarding the door, and the maid knocked on the door and handed the tray in. At first, the door was only open a crack. After the people inside received the red envelopes, the door was opened wide. But this was not enough. Brother Shin had a decent smile on his face, and everyone, led by him, blocked the door. "Brother-in-law, if you want to take my little sister away today, you have to pass our test first." Hearing this, Su Jing smiled and bowed to him. This was the first time he met the eldest brother of the Shin family. "Brother, just ask the questions." Su Jing was also fully prepared. In this case, Brother Shin was no longer polite. The talented people he found had prepared a lot of poems. They responded to the first stanza, and Su Jing responded to the second stanza, and they would continue to respond until they were satisfied. Su Jing himself is a talented person, so none of these are difficult for him, and he can handle them with ease. The ladies asked questions about when Shin Qingli was born, what she liked to eat, and what kind of snacks she liked. Su Jing answered all the questions fluently about what a qualified husband should do. Jiang Yu and the others seemed redundant on the side. It seemed that Su Jing could handle all these problems by himself. At best, they were just there to support the occasion. He wears a mask to cover his face wherever he goes in Kyoto, and it has become his iconic image. People can tell at a glance that he is the prince of the Duke of Zhong's mansion. But I didn't expect that the crown prince and Minister Su were so close, and he even came to be the best men. However, Jiang Yu has always had a reputation for being ugly. Everyone thought he was ugly, so he didn't dare to show his face. Therefore, despite his noble status, there were not many noble ladies in Kyoto who wanted to marry him, and they were all rather cold towards him. Brother Shin was very satisfied with Su Jing's performance. Shin Qingli, who was listening inside, also had a shy smile on her face. The last level was a contest of martial arts. Brother Shen invited a general from the army, and Su Jing sent Su Qin. The general was also a colleague of Su Qin. When he saw Su Qin, he said bluntly, "General Su, I can't beat you in a serious fight. Let's just stop here and create some atmosphere." He knew that he was no match for the other person. Su Qin had always been known as the living devil on the front battlefield. He was brave and good at fighting, and had made many outstanding achievements. How could he fight against the other person? All I can say is to stop at the right time, and don't let the atmosphere get cold. Su Qin also knew this truth, so he smiled and nodded, clasping his fists and bowing. "Well, I'll give in." The two men came to an open area and started fighting. They both stopped when they were done, but the skills of that general were indeed not as good as Su Chen's. Su Chen could fight him fluently with one hand behind his back. When the noble ladies saw Su Chen's graceful demeanor, some of them blushed secretly. General Su was a handsome man, tall and straight, with a lovely smile. It was said that he was still unmarried. Nowadays, The Su family is considered a leader in Kyoto, and marrying General Su is a good match. After dozens of rounds, the general was at a disadvantage, and seeing that the auspicious moment was approaching, he raised his hand to call a halt. Stop, stop. I am ashamed of myself. Ashamed of myself. He bowed to Su Chen, as if he had admitted defeat. The test has been passed, the time has come, and the next step is to pick up the bride. The eldest brother of the Shin family came forward and patted Su Jing on the shoulder, saying earnestly, "Be nice to my sister in the future. If I find out that you bully her, I will never forgive you. Don't worry, brother. Qingli is my life. I will cherish her very much," Su Jing said seriously. The eldest brother of the Shin family nodded with satisfaction. He was going to carry his sister on his back and go out, and first go to the front hall to say goodbye to his parents. Shin Qingli lay on her brother's back, and Su Jing and the others followed behind her. The group went to the front hall of the Shin mansion in a mighty procession. After getting off the ground, Shin Qingli and Su Jing knelt on the ground and kowtowed to their parents, and Shin's mother burst into tears. "Father, mother, I am getting married today. I kowtow to you too." She and Su Jing kowtowed 3 times before standing up. Seeing this, university scholar Shin's eyes also turned red. Mother Shin gave her a few more instructions before helping her and her son-in-law up and watching them leave. Shin Qingli covered her face with a fan and was not allowed to look back during the process. She had to walk out of the Shin mansion side by side with Su Jing. Brother Shin will see her off the whole way. After Shin Qingli gets on the bridal sedan, the nanny beside Madam Shin comes out with a basin of water and pours it on the ground, meaning that a daughter who is married off is like water poured out. Of Shin's mansion, firecrackers were blasted and ceremonial music was played. The wedding procession picked up the bride and went to Su's mansion. Shin Qingli couldn't help crying in the bridal sedan. She was afraid that crying would ruin her makeup, so she could only gently wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. Su Jing rode on the horse, looking back at the sedan chair from time to time, then smiled knowingly. The 4 greatest fortunes in life are rain after a long drought, meeting an old friend in a foreign land, the wedding night, and getting your name on the list of successful candidates. Su Jing has almost completed his mission, and his life is complete. Su-won had to help entertain the guests who came to the Su mansion for a drink. Su's father and mother also kept an eye on the movements outside, waiting for the wedding procession to arrive. Finally, the sound of gongs and drums was heard, and everyone started to get ready. As soon as you enter the door, you have to bow in the hall. Su's father and mother sit on the high chair. Princess Jiaqing arrived at the Su mansion just before the wedding procession arrived, and Su-won had just received her. She was wearing a light blue horse-face skirt today, which was particularly refreshing. Her hair was also beautifully combed. She seemed to have been carefully dressed up, even more exquisite than the last time she was seen in Prince Xiang's mansion. As soon as she arrived, she turned around in front of Su-won. "Sister Won-won, do I look good today?" Su-won nodded and praised. "It's nice, very beautiful. You are also very beautiful, but the bride is the most beautiful today," Jiaqing said mischievously. Just as he finished speaking, the sound of gongs and drums was heard outside, and the wedding procession returned. Sun Linger happened to come too, and when she saw Su-won, she greeted her. Su-won held Sun Linger's hand in one hand and Jiaqing's hand in the other and ran to the door to see her sister-in-law. At the door, many guests who liked to join in the fun also came to see the bride. The matchmaker helped the bride down from the bridal sedan. Shin Qingli was at least 1.65 meters tall. She wore a floor-length wedding dress with a red base and green as the main color. She held a peacock fan in her hand, which made her figure look even more slender and taller. She had good manners, and walking side by side with Su Jing, they looked a perfect match in every way. The 3 girls were very happy because Shin Qingli was so beautiful. Jiaqing said that they were a perfect match and said with an intoxicated look on his face, "I've heard about the story of Sister Shin and Minister Su before, and it moved me so much. One was willing to wait until she was 20 to get married for the sake of her lover, and the other worked hard to build the Xian River Dam for the sake of the girl he loved. just to return with glory and marry the girl he loved. Oh my God, what a touching love story this is. In Kyoto, there have always been only political marriages. Many couples have never even met each other before getting married, so how can they be in love with each other? Most of the time, it's just two families banding together after weighing the pros and cons. There is no affection at all, and it can only be cultivated slowly, so there are many resentful couples in this world, like Su Jing and Shin Qingli, who love each other and eventually get married. The matchmaker kept shouting blessings. After stepping over the fire basin, the two newlyweds walked side by side on the red carpet, which extended all the way to the main hall. Su's father and mother sat in the main seats, both of them with tears in their eyes. Su Jing tilted his head to look at Shin Qingli beside him. His expression was gentle, his face was slightly red, and he was full of affection. Shin Qingli also glanced at him secretly in tacit understanding. Su-won arranged for the maids in the mansion to hold flower baskets, and Su Jing and Shin Qingli followed them as they walked, scattering flowers all the way. The colorful petals were flying all over the sky, which was so beautiful. The magpies were very active today, flying around in groups of 2 or 3 in the air, chirping and announcing the good news. Su's mother asked someone to grab a few handfuls of millet to feed the little guys. Su-won, Sun Linger, and Jiaqing ran into the main hall first, stood beside Su's father and mother, found a perfect viewing point, and rubbed their hands excitedly. Several brothers of the Su family also followed in and stood beside Su-won. When Jiaqing saw Su Chen, he blushed quietly, subconsciously adjusted his hair, and stood upright. When Su Chen saw Jiaqing, he nodded and smiled at her politely, and Jiaqing's heart was filled with joy. Su-won's attention was all on his elder brother, so naturally he didn't notice Jiaqing's little movements. Jiangyu stood silently behind her. From his angle, he could just see Su-won's small, rosy earlobes and her white neck with a hint of pink. The strands of hair from her temples fell by her ears, which was very cute. Her neck was flushed pink, simply because she was so excited. Jiangyu couldn't help swallowing and looked away awkwardly. Then, Su Jing and Shin Qingli had already arrived at the main hall. Both sides of the main hall were surrounded by guests who came to watch the ceremony. The eldest brother of the Shin family was seated in the seat of honor, just below Su's father. Straight into the wedding ceremony, the host began to recite the lyrics, and the two newlyweds faced the door. I bow to the spirit of heaven and earth. There is a cause and effect on the 3-life stone. I bow. Bow twice to the essence of the sun and the moon. All living things of spirit, bow twice. 3 bows for spring, summer, autumn, and winter, good weather and abundant crops. 3 bows for good weather and abundant crops. After completing the process, the two faced their parents again. I bow to my parents, the mirror that nourishes me. I bow twice to thank my parents for their hard work and teaching me. Bow again for peace and harmony, and turn the yellow earth into gold. Bow 3 times. Finally, the couple bows to each other, standing facing each other. We bow together, sharing happiness and hardships. I bow again, wish you a loving couple and a son soon. Bow 3 times, live together till old age, be together forever. The ceremony is over. As the process was completed, there was warm applause at the scene, congratulating the newlyweds for being a perfect match. Su-won was so excited that she shed tears of emotion. It's not easy, it's not easy. It's really not easy for you to get to where you are today. Finally, they were sent to the bridal chamber. The eldest brother stayed in the front hall to entertain guests, while the eldest sister-in-law was sent back to the bridal chamber. In a while, Su-won and Sun Linger will accompany her to prevent her from being bored alone in the room. Her 2 elder sisters were married and could not come to accompany her, so only her sister-in-law, Su-won, could come. She was about to follow him to the new house. She turned around and found Jiangyu standing behind him and bumped into his chest. Jiangyu held her shoulders and helped her stand steadily. Sun Linger was standing beside her, with a look of pain on her face. Only Jiaqing blinked his eyes, looking confused. Why is the Prince of Jiangwa here? He seems to be very familiar with Sister Wanwan.
One blast.
Angrily, "Why are you standing behind me without saying hello?" Jiang Yu's expression under the mask was unclear, but the corners of his lips curled up slightly. You were so engrossed in watching it that you didn't notice it. Indeed, Jiang Yu had been watching her from behind just now, but she didn't notice it at all. When he saw Su Jing and Shun Qingli's wedding, he was also filled with emotion. He was looking forward to marrying Su Wan in the future, and he wanted to give her a more grand and memorable wedding. He is now very much looking forward to that day, and the corners of his mouth can't help but rise just thinking about it. Su Wan was indeed so engrossed in watching just now that he didn't pay attention. At this time, Su Yun and Su Yi came over and they held Jiang Yu on each side and pulled him out. "I'm telling you, don't even think about running away today. Big brother asked you to stop the drinking," Su Yun said righteously. Jiang Yu smiled helplessly. He had never thought of running away. He had agreed with Su Qin in the morning that he would help Su Jing block the drinking and would not come back until he was drunk. Su Wan looked at his helpless expression and laughed unkindly. It seemed like the fourth and fifth brothers were doing it on purpose. It was too obvious. He couldn't stand seeing the two of them staying together for too long. Before leaving, Sui did not forget to tell Su Wan. "Wan, my brother asked me to tell you to prepare some food for my sister-in-law. She got up early today and is hungry. The eldest brother is so thoughtful. He always thinks about his lovely wife, Su Wan, Sun Linger, and Jiaqing, and they are given a lot of food. Wow, Minister Su is so thoughtful. Sister Shen has finally found a good home." Jiaqing expressed his envy again. "Princess Jiaqing, you will find such a good husband in the future," Sun Linger said with a smile. Just now, Jiaqing has learned that Sun Linger is Su Wan's future sister-in-law. She shouted in her heart that this family is so good-looking, and the offspring born in the future will be amazing. These genes are simply invincible. These sisters-in-law are all so beautiful, and the brothers are all more handsome than each other. Wan is spoiled by so many people. I am so envious." Speaking of this, Jiaqing lowered his head and smiled embarrassedly. A figure came to his mind, and his face turned red with embarrassment. "Let us go to the kitchen and get some food for my sister-in-law." Su Wan followed his elder brother's instructions and went to the kitchen to make a bowl of skimmed chicken soup, then took a bowl of vegetable porridge and a bowl of pastries and brought them to the bridal chamber. Shun Qingli sat obediently in the room. From time to time, the sound of firecrackers could be heard outside. A maid was guarding outside the door, busying herself back and forth in the yard. Su Jing's yard was decorated according to her preferences. She liked crabapples and gardenias, so the yard was planted with crabapples and gardenias. A swing was also built for her. The layout was similar to when she was in the Shun mansion. The furnishings in the room were made of the same wood that she usually used in her boudoir. On the dressing table, there are bronze mirrors, wooden combs, various jewelry, rouge and powder, as well as Bingjitang's beauty cream. Soon as she arrived here, she felt like she was back home, very friendly and safe. This shows Su Jing's feelings for her. Lu Er stayed by her side, watching all this, and even teased her daughter. "Miss. Oh no, I should call you Madam now. Madam, our son-in-law is so kind to you. This courtyard is decorated according to your preferences. When I came in, I almost thought I was back in our begonia garden." Shen Qingli just lowered her head and smiled shyly. When she thought about getting married to Su Jing today, she felt like she was dreaming. The crown on her head was a bit heavy, pressing on her neck. The crystal drape in front of her also hit her face from time to time, which was very disgusting. But she didn't dare take it off, fearing it would be inconvenient when she put it on again later. So she could only rub her neck from time to time to relieve the pain. Su Wan and the other three girls are inseparable in the Su mansion. Wherever she goes, Sun Linger and Jiaqing follow. I passed the garden with the food. I saw many ladies chatting in the garden, each with a smile on their face. But she had sharp eyes and saw Guyu at a glance. So she rubbed her eyes and looked carefully. She was not mistaken. It was indeed Guyu. She was now surrounded by a group of noble ladies, and no one knew what they were talking about. That's not right. The Su family didn't invite her to the wedding banquet because of various previous reasons. They were afraid that it would be awkward if they invited her. So, why did she come uninvited? But there was no time to think too much. Since she was a guest and had prepared gifts, could she just run over to ask her? Today is a good day for my eldest brother and sister-in-law. She doesn't want to cause any trouble, so let it go. After she left, Guyu also noticed her. The Su family did not invite her, but she came on her own initiative and even prepared a gift. She knew that she was in the wrong and had done wrong things in the past, but she remembered their past friendship and shamelessly came to give a gift to her eldest brother, even if he didn't like her. As long as she is sincere, I will be able to change my opinion of her over time, right? Another thing is that she wanted to meet Soo-yeon today and apologize to him in person. Soo-yeon was not in the court, and he would not appear in certain occasions on weekdays. Only on this occasion today could she meet him with justification. In fact, she also knew that Soo-yeon had been the best to her in the past. She could feel it, but she was just hurt by him. She owed him an apology. As long as she said it in person, would he forgive her? Thinking of this, Guyu looked around, trying to find Soo-yeon. But Soo-yeon was in charge of the kitchen at the moment. He was in charge of his eldest brother's wedding banquet. He could take this opportunity to promote Chung-lu and let everyone know that such delicious food was made by Chung-lu's chef. Those who came today are all dignitaries, rich daughters, and prominent figures. We cannot afford to make any mistakes. Now that Chung-lu has become famous, we can contract out these banquets in Kyoto and even host banquets for dignitaries. We will make a lot of money. Soo-yeon's calculations were making a lot of noise. When the meal starts, Su's father will emphasize that today's meal will be prepared by Chung-lu's team of chefs, and he will also spread the news that Chung-lu is about to open. He is such a smart guy. These were all approved by Big Brother, so it's not considered rude. Soo-won even praised him for being smart, he. He was not in the front hall or the garden, so Guyu naturally couldn't find him. Soo-won brought soup and food to Shin Ching-li. Shin Ching-li looked at the hot chicken soup and looked at her gratefully. Won, you are so considerate. I am still hungry today. Sister-in-law, this is not just my kindness, it was my eldest brother who specifically asked me to do this. How could Soo-won take away such credit? This was an assist, helping his brother and sister-in-law to further their relationship. When Shin Ching-li heard that it was Su Jing who asked her to do this, her face suddenly turned red and she felt embarrassed again. While she was drinking chicken soup, Sun Linger saw that she looked so tired with such a big hair crown on her head. Sister-in-law, I'm afraid that my brother won't be done with his work until nightfall. Why don't you take off the crown? It will make your neck more comfortable. Is it okay? Speaking of this, Shin Ching-li had wanted to pick it for a long time, but she was not sure. Sure, why not?
Pick it. Sun Linger winked to Leah.
Lure immediately came over to help her take off the hair crown. In an instant, her neck felt relaxed, and Shin Ching-li let out a long sigh. Today Sister-in-law, I'm afraid that my brother won't be done with his work until nightfall. Why don't you take off the crown? It will make your neck. Jiacheng couldn't help but sigh as he looked at Shin Ching-li. When she saw the beautiful sister, she wanted to get close to her very much. Shin Ching-li covered her lips and laughed. The princess will have such a day, and she will be even more beautiful on that day. Jiacheng thought that it would be too early for that day to come, and she didn't even know what the other person felt. In the front hall, Su Jing was forced to drink various kinds of alcohol. Su Mu, Su Chen, and Jiang Yu were all forced to drink a lot, 1 cup after another. I'm afraid they will all go back to bed drunk tonight. Su Yi was relatively free, so he took on a task to record everything that happened today. He was painting in the pavilion in the garden, preparing to paint a picture of the Su mansion's wedding banquet to record his eldest brother's wedding scene. To paint this picture completely, I'm afraid it would require several meters of drawing paper, which is a huge task. However, his painting here attracted many talented men and women in Kyoto to watch. Su Yi turned a deaf ear to the world outside the window and focused entirely on his painting. He seemed oblivious to the constant stream of praises in his ears. It's not that he has an eye bag and must be conspicuous in public, but the painting must be done on the spot so that everything he sees and hears can be fully recorded. Moreover, today is sunny, with birds singing and flowers blooming, so the outdoors is more suitable for painting. The onlookers were shocked by Su Yi's painting skills, which included details like every leaf and every pavilion. Some people could even see themselves in the paintings. Among the onlookers, there were many talented people with great attainments in painting, but after seeing Su Yi's paintings, they could not help but praise and admire him. Once this wedding banquet picture comes out, it is sure to cause quite a stir. To be honest, many great scholars have painted night banquet pictures, but their paintings are not as colorful as Su Yi's, and the characters in them are not as vivid as those in Su Yi's paintings. Even if they're just a small one, you can tell who this person is. He used a very clever design, adding fluorescent powder to the painting. As long as you look at it from an angle where there is light, you can find that names are carefully added above each character. There were so many people here that it was a bit inconvenient for Su Yi as his view was blocked. Please give me some face. I need some quiet time to paint. I will invite you to appreciate my painting after the wedding banquet painting is finished. He tactfully expressed his intention to clear the area. Everyone was not a shameless person, and since Su Yi's attitude was so gentle, they naturally dispersed obediently and went about their business. However, there are still many people who are thinking about this matter and want to be the first to see what the wedding banquet picture will look like after it is completed. Su Yi is likely to become famous today with his painting of the Su Mansion's wedding banquet. In addition, when the Grand Secretary was chatting with the Emperor a few days ago, he also mentioned Su Yi. Some time ago, the Emperor wanted to ask the court painter to draw a portrait of himself at this age. The Empress and the ladies in the harem also needed new portraits. He mentioned this to the Grand Secretary, by the way, and when the Grand Secretary mentioned the portrait, he immediately thought of Su Yi from the Su family. He once painted portraits of his wife and daughter. I am not exaggerating about his painting skills. He could make a person's facial expressions and appearance 70% similar to the original. The Emperor did not believe it after hearing it, thinking that the Grand Secretary was exaggerating, until the Grand Secretary brought the portrait of his wife, wearing the imperial robes, to the Emperor. Wow, even the Emperor had to say that she looked like him. But at that time, the marriage between the Shun and Su families would be held in a few days, so he did not mention it for the time being. After this matter was over, Su Yi would probably be summoned to the palace. Of course, he himself doesn't know yet that he is about to have this opportunity. The kitchen at the Su residence was bustling with activity, and the cooks were almost catching fire from swinging their spoons. The fragrance continued to waft from the back kitchen and could be faintly smelled in the front yard. To be honest, I have never been so impressed by the delicious food at any other wedding, because it has a completely different taste and indescribable flavor. They don't know it's spicy now, but they will know it later. The food at Minister Su's residence smells so good. Yes, I smelled it too. It looks delicious. When will the feast start? It seems to be the afternoon. It's almost time. At noon, the guests all have tea and snacks, a variety of teas accompanied by light meals, and the main meal is served in the afternoon. This is the standard for wedding banquets. All the dishes in the kitchen have been prepared, and now they just need to be served. Su Yun is so busy that he keeps his feet on the ground, giving orders everywhere. Guyu also looked for him everywhere, but unfortunately couldn't find him. Each prince's palace sent people to deliver gifts. The 7th prince, the 6th prince, and the 5th prince even came to the Su mansion in person to congratulate. Su Jing was already a little drunk, but he still had to come out to greet them in person. Murong Huai was quite casual. He looked around as soon as he arrived, looking for his old friend. Murong Sheng and the 6th prince said a lot of polite words, and Su Jing arranged for them to take their seats. When Guyu saw Murong Sheng coming, they exchanged glances from a distance. Pink bubbles surrounded Guyu, which showed that their relationship was very sweet. However, they might not be able to sit at the same table today, because the Su family has arranged separate tables for men and women. Su Wan and the others had been chatting with Xin Qingli in the bridal chamber until the banquet started in the front yard. Luyun came to inform her, and then she took Princess Jiaqing and Sun Linger to the banquet. When they arrived at the front yard, they found that Morong Huai and the others had also arrived. The two of them exchanged glances and nodded to each other. Soldering iron, long time no see. Su Yi's wedding banquet picture could not be completed in one day. He could only draw a rough outline and then slowly perfect the details. The princes all sat together tacitly today. It was self-evident what the fifth Prince Morong Sheng came here for. He needed to win over Su Jing, so he came in person. Morong Huai came in person only because of his good relationship with Su Chen. He didn't need to win over Su Chen because Su Chen would automatically stand on his side anyway. Before the meal started, Su's father needed to come out and give a speech. Today, everyone was a dignitary, and it was his first time to participate in such an occasion. As the host, he was quite nervous. The dishes on the table were very novel, and the aroma of food wafted through the yard. No one in Kyoto had ever seen such cuisine. It's red and pungent, but it makes people very appetizing. Thank you all for attending my son Su Jing's wedding today. Please forgive me for the poor hospitality. Today's banquet will be hosted by Jingdu Chunglu. I hope you all enjoy the food and drinks. Thank you. Father Su's words were very brief but exquisite, and he expressed everything that needed to be expressed. The banquet officially began. Guyu sat at a table with a few daughters of small families who were on good terms with her. It was only then that she saw Su Yun. Seeing that everyone was eager to try and showed curiosity about his food, Su Yun smiled with his big teeth bared. He walked to the table of Su Mu and Dr. Su Isuan with ease. The eldest brother and the third brother wanted to entertain the princes, and Jiang Yu also sat with them, wearing a mask. Today he turned into an emotionless wine-blocking machine, reducing his presence to 0. After the meal started, everyone couldn't wait to pick up their chopsticks to eat the food, especially Morong Huai. When he saw the braised pork with chili, stewed pork, fish and sour soup, mutton hot pot, etc., he started drooling. This look is inseparable from the contribution of the soldering iron. After taking a bite, the braised pork was fat but not greasy, soft, sticky, and fragrant. The sourness of the sour soup fish was just right, and it whetted my appetite. The braised pork tasted just like the ones in modern braised food restaurants, or even better. The chopped green onions were so fragrant that it made me want to die. I was moved to tears. It was so tearful. Morong Huai hadn't eaten chili peppers for several years. I was so moved. Everyone at the scene was impressed by the novel dishes and praised them highly. With 6 people per table, the girls who loved spicy food didn't care about their image at all and took chopsticks of food one after another. Those who can eat spicy food will find themselves in a new world, while those who can't will enjoy the sour soup fish and mutton hot pot with some fresh seasonal vegetables. There is also a dish of braised pork with pickled mustard greens, which is suitable for all ages and goes wonderfully with rice. Any socialite who comes here will have to drink 4 bowls of rice before leaving. The banquet at Minister Su's house was so delicious that everyone remembered that this was Chunglo's food and they would definitely go and try it again after the restaurant opened. Others also thought of asking Chunglo's chef to take care of the wedding if there was a happy event at home. Even Morong Sheng and the 6th prince were amazed by the dish. It was rare to see such harmony at the dinner table. Everyone was busy eating, and Su Jing took his brothers to toast each table. He was getting married today, so he definitely couldn't get drunk, so he asked a few strong men to help stop the drinking. Su Chen and Su Mu were almost done drinking, but Jiang Yu seemed to be still sober. This guy could drink quite a lot. When he came to Guyu's desk, Guyu immediately stood up and looked at Su Jing with a smile. Su Jing was a little surprised to see that it was her who came. He remembered that he didn't invite her. But since we are here, we are guests. Su Chen and Su Mu looked at each other and fell silent. Su Jing filled the glass with wine and raised his glass to Guyu. It is a great honor for our humble home to have the presence of Lady Huaimin herself. Whether it's brilliant or not, but it's definitely very awkward, and I still have to say some polite words. Guyu is also shameless. No matter how the Su family distances themselves from her, she can still call them brother. Brother, happy wedding. I wish you and sister-in-law a long and happy marriage. Su Jing drank the wine in one gulp and just smiled without saying anything. After everyone toasted, Su Jing and the others finally had time to return to their seats to eat some food. However, Guyu's calling of Big Brother puzzled the girls sitting at the same table, so they asked her what was going on. Guyu then took the opportunity to tell them about the identity swap with Suwon. Only then did they know that Guyu and the Su family were a family. She was an adopted sister, and these brothers in the Su family were also her brothers. It just so happened that the people sitting at the same table with her were all well-known loudmouths, so it didn't take long for the matter to become known to everyone. Halfway through the meal, Guyu saw Su Yun going to the backyard alone. She found an excuse to leave the table and followed him. Suwon had been paying attention to her intentionally or unintentionally. Seeing that she went with her fourth brother, she felt uneasy and followed quietly behind. Soo-yun was a little tired today and wanted to go back to his own yard to rest for a while. He was no longer needed in the front yard. But I didn't expect that Guyu would follow me. At this moment, the guests were having a feast in the front yard, and the servants were also helping in the front yard, so the backyard was empty. Fourth brother, Guyu called out from behind. Soo-yun was walking happily on the road with his hands behind his back, but when he heard the voice, he was stunned. There are only two people in the mansion who call him fourth brother, Soo-won and Soo-yi. Moreover, Soo-yi is a man, so he rarely calls himself fourth brother. He could tell it was Soo-won's voice at once. This female voice was obviously not Soo-won's voice. He turned his head and saw a woman in a pink dress walking towards him. When he got closer and took a look, he was a little hesitant to recognize. Was the person in front of him Guyu? All in all, after not seeing each other for 5 years, each other's appearance has already undergone subtle changes, losing their youthfulness and becoming more steady and mature. The girl in front of him has grown up and become a young lady. She is no longer the childish girl she used to be. To be honest, Soo-yun's life has been occupied by Soo-won over the years, and he has gradually forgotten the existence of Guyu. However, he has never forgotten the trauma she left behind. The scar under her shoulder blade has faded with the passage of time, but it will never disappear. I heard that she is now a county lady, but her status is still not as noble as Wanwan's. Soo-yun smiled awkwardly. Thinking back to the past, some scenes that still traumatize him flashed through his mind. County Lady Huimin, right? I'm honored to meet you. Soo-yun bowed to her. Fourth brother, why are you so polite? Just treat me as an ordinary person. Now the Su family is very polite to her. She felt embarrassed at first, but now she is used to it. The county lady Huimin thinks too highly of me. How can I, a commoner, treat her so disrespectfully? He is not in the official career, he is even a traveling businessman, just a commoner. As Soo-yun spoke, he took 2 steps back, putting some distance between him and her. Seeing this, Soo-won, who was hiding behind a pillar and peeking, smiled unkindly. She leave a big shadow on fourth brother? Why did she show off in front of him? Guyu's smile froze a little, and her outstretched hand froze helplessly in midair. She wanted to take a step forward, but didn't know what position to take. She took a deep breath and said, Fourth brother, whether you admit it or not, I have always regarded you as my own brother in my heart. I was young and ignorant before, and I did things that hurt you. I owe you an apology. I'm sorry, fourth brother, please forgive me. Guyu bowed to him solemnly. Seeing this, Soo-yun remained calm and just snorted. County lady, I only have one sister. Her name is Soo-won. She was personally conferred the title of Princess Xuanla by the emperor. As for the past, I don't remember anything. Once Soo-yun lets go of something, he really lets go. He is not afraid of hurting Guyu, but speaks his mind directly. These words hurt Guyu deeply. Her eyes were full of tears, and her eyes were red. She looked at Soo-yun pitifully. Fourth brother. We were the closest when we were young. No matter where you went, you would take me with you. If there was anything delicious, you would save your share for me. You also promised me before that in your heart, I was your only sister. Have you forgotten? Her playing of the emotional card now had no appeal to Sue, but instead made him feel uncomfortable. Guyu pushed him to block the knife, causing him to almost die in that alley. He said that voluntary and forced are completely different concepts. The former was his wishful thinking, and even if he died, he deserved it. But the latter can often see a person's character more clearly. Selfish people are not worthy of being mentioned. If there is a first time, there will be a second time. He is lucky to be alive, but how many lives does he have to prevent it? So many years have passed, and Suwon has long replaced her and become an indispensable part of his life. She is like a flower that blooms towards the sun, constantly infecting him. Blood ties are the most gentle things. County lady, as you said, I was ignorant before. When I was young, I didn't know the value of pearls and mistook stones for treasures. I really don't remember what happened before. Today, County lady came to the Su mansion to drink at my eldest brother's wedding. She is an honored guest. If I don't treat you well, please forgive me. But this is the backyard of the Su mansion, and there are few people here. My status is different from that of the county lady, so I will leave now. Su Yun is really sharp-tongued. He must have learned it from his fifth brother. Every word he says is full of gems. Guyu's heart ached so much that she thought bitterly, why is Su-won the pearl and she is the stone? She had to prove that she was the pearl and Su-won was the stone that was inferior to her. Seeing Su-yun running away quickly, Su-won, who had been observing secretly on the side, came out. She felt happy when she saw Guyu standing there in a daze. When she had just returned to the Su family, her fourth brother was so dissatisfied with her, all thanks to Guyu's advance efforts. With her tearful attitude and some slander, she managed to control the immature fourth brother, who was only 14 or 15 years old, and he targeted her everywhere. Guyu turned around and saw Su-won gloating over other people's misfortune, and she was so angry that her teeth were itching. Why, have you been wanting to see me laugh at you? Otherwise, why did she appear immediately after Su-yun poured a bucket of cold water on her? What are you saying? I'm in my own home. I can go wherever I want. Do I need to say hello to you? Su-won said confidently. Guyu sneered and pretended to be indifferent. What are you so proud of? I gave up all these on my own initiative. If I had insisted on staying in the Su family, what would you have to do with me now? She really got humiliated, but she still insisted on being tough. Su-won laughed angrily and said sarcastically, people go up, water flows down. This is understandable. When the Su family was poor, you didn't seem to be reluctant to leave. You ran faster than a rabbit. You said it yourself. This is your own choice. Since you have chosen it, you have no right to regret it. Besides, everything I have today is the result of my own efforts. I have never borrowed anyone's help. Everything I have is what I deserve. Su-won has this confidence. Her position as a princess was also gained by spending money, but all this money was earned by herself. In comparison, she is much more confident than her. Guyu felt that she couldn't win the argument with Su-won. She was indeed in the wrong, and just wanted to show off her happiness with words. But Su-won was very eloquent, and she couldn't beat her in an argument. We haven't even reached the final step yet. It's hard to say who will be more glorious than the other. Don't you want to marry the Prince Jung? Then you may be disappointed. Duke Jung already has a favorite candidate for the prince's wife in his mind, but this person is not you, and it can't be you. Now the Su mansion has formed an alliance with the Grand Secretary's mansion. You are aware of the Grand Secretary's reputation in the court. In many cases, he can play a leading role. Now my eldest brother and third brother, one a civil official and one a military official, are in their heyday in the court. The Gyeonggwagong mansion holds the military power. If we form an alliance with your Su mansion again, not to mention that he may not agree, I am afraid that the emperor will not agree either. A family to be too prosperous. As the saying goes, when the water is full, it overflows. When the moon is full, it wanes. You are so smart, you must know this. In fact, Guyu just wanted to cause trouble for Su-won and annoy her, but what she said was indeed reasonable. Su-won knew how serious this was, but she just believed Jongyu because he said he could handle it. Now it seems that, just as Guyu said, it would be very difficult for Jongyu to solve the problem. But Suwon is not someone who can be easily provoked, and he will definitely fight back. Instead of worrying about others, you might as well worry about yourself first. As far as I know, the fifth prince's power is weak now. You want to be his princess. On the surface, your status is enough, but I'm afraid that you can't play any role with the title of County Lord. The Goof family is a businessman and can't reach the court. If you want to do big things, you must have enough power. Money alone is not enough. If the fifth prince wants to quickly consolidate his power, the fastest way is to find a daughter of a minister who has a background, power, and can have a say in the court to marry. What do you think? I remember that the fifth prince is working in the Ministry of Revenue, right? It is said that the Minister of Revenue has an unmarried daughter, and there is only one daughter in the family. How important is this? As the saying goes, those who are close to the water get the moon first. Do you think what I said makes sense? After Suwon said this, Guyu clenched her hands hidden in her sleeves. She was scared, and she was nervous. Suwon's words were very sharp. Now Morongsheng was in the Ministry of Revenue every day, and often visited the home of the Minister of Revenue. How could the Minister of Revenue's legitimate daughter resist such a handsome, talented, and single prince every day? Of course I fell in love with it. Moreover, the Minister of Revenue also intended to send his daughter to the fifth prince's palace. He has only one daughter, who was raised like a treasure. He wanted to pick all the stars and moons in the sky for her. As long as she expressed her preference for the fifth prince, the Minister of Revenue would naturally extend an olive branch. Morongsheng now has only 2 marquisate standing by his side. Besides, there is only an assistant minister of the Ministry of Rights who is on good terms with him, and the minister of the Ministry of Revenue, who shows some signs of turning against him. If he could marry the girl, the Ministry of Revenue would have complete control over the matter. Suwon stabbed the man and left, and he himself was fine. The issue with Duke Jeong is something Jeongyu should be concerned about. What's the point of her being concerned? He couldn't just rush to someone's house and beg them to marry him, right? In the evening, the banquet at the Su mansion was over. The fifth and sixth princes had already left. Murong Huai and Su Qin were drunk and were arguing with each other, holding onto each other's shoulders. Jiangyu was also drunk. He propped up his head and closed his eyes. It was unclear whether he was asleep or just resting. In the end, it was the 2 young servants around Murong Huai who sent him back to the 7th prince's palace. When he passed by Su Wan, he looked at Su Wan with a smile and said, "Branding iron, see you another day." Su Wan's heart skipped a beat, and he thought, "You drink some horse urine because you are arrogant. What if it is exposed?" She quickly joked, "Your Highness the 7th prince is really humorous. What is a branding iron?" The second brother was also drunk, and Sun Linger supported him back to the room, helped him change clothes, and wipe his body. As a result, Sumu turned into a little wolf dog, threw Sun Linger onto the couch, and bent down to kiss her lips. After a long while, he muttered, "Linger, we are going to get married soon. Are you happy?" After saying that, Sumu rested his head on her neck and fell asleep. Sun Linger's heart was beating fast, but she smiled happily and sweetly. She hugged his waist and said softly, "Naturally happy." Su Yun and Su Yi were responsible for taking care of the third brother, and Su Wan came back only after sending Jiaqing to the carriage. The hall was empty. Su Jing wanted to stay completely sober, but he was still 7 points drunk and stumbled to his new house. The maids hurriedly left the yard. When I opened the door, Shen Qingli had already dressed up again and was sitting quietly beside the couch, fanning herself. The matchmaker had to watch the 2 of them drink the wedding wine, eat raw dumplings, and say a lot of blessings before she left. Shen Qingli foolishly ate 3, and then joked about having 3 more children in the future. She was so embarrassed. There were only 2 people left in the room. Su Jing took away her fan, reached out and gently took off her hair crown, and then rubbed her neck. The 2 of them were very close, and Shen Qingli could clearly smell the strong smell of alcohol on him. "Are you tired?" Su Jing said with blurry eyes. Shen Qingli shook her head, and just as she said she was not tired, she was pressed down by him holding her back. "Then let's do what we should do," Su Jing said hoarsely and kissed her lips. The buttons of the small dress came undone, and the bright red curtain fell down. There were flickering candlelight in the room, but the red color made it look dark red, creating a very atmospheric feeling. The wicks on the dragon and phoenix candles were cut, and the red wax dripped onto the mahogany table. It had already solidified and burned all night long. Su-won returned to the courtyard alone. Lu Yun and Lu Ying followed her quietly. When they stepped into the yard, they found that there seemed to be someone sitting on the swing. It's Jiang Yu. No wonder they were gone after she sent Jiaqing back. Some were drunk, some were tired, and some went to take care of others. But he came to her alone. At this moment, Jiang Yu was sitting on the swing, swinging, and seemed to be having a lot of fun. Lu Yun and Lu Ying wisely avoided them first, leaving space for Su-won and Jiang Yu. As soon as I approached him, I could smell a faint smell of alcohol. I didn't know how much he drank today, but he had a really good alcohol tolerance and good drinking manners. He didn't make a fuss when he was drunk. I thought you went back. Su-won spoke behind him. Jiang Yu knew that she was back and was waiting for her here on purpose. He naturally moved his buttocks, making half a space on the swing, patted the open space, and motioned for her to sit down. Su-won also sat down naturally. As soon as she sat down, Jiang Yu put one hand around her from behind and the other hand around her waist from the front. He put his head on her shoulder, just like a little husband. Su-won thought, what's wrong? She's being so coquettish. However, she complained in her heart but said nothing, just letting him lean on her. Today, but she was curious about who Duke Jiang preferred as his daughter-in-law. Just as he was thinking about it, Jiang Yu spoke. I will be back soon. Tomorrow I will tell my father about the betrothal. Wait for me. I will come to marry you soon, he said, and his tone sounded like he was acting coquettishly. Su-won thought of what Gu said. She nodded and said okay. Jiang Yu was a strong person. She gloated over his misfortune and laughed at herself at the same time, but she didn't know that Jiang Yu's personality was such that his father couldn't control what he didn't want to do. He leaned on Su-won's shoulder for a long time and was reluctant to leave, but he knew that it was not possible now. He had to propose to her and take her home. Only then would he be legitimate. Leaving, Jiang Yu kissed her lightly on the lips. Afraid that the smell of alcohol on his body would make her uncomfortable, he did not let the kiss last too long. He returned to the Duke's mansion. Duke Jiang had just returned from the military camp. As soon as he came back, he saw his son, who had been missing for more than a month, coming back drunk. When Jiang Yu saw him, he took the initiative to call him father, which was rare. This made Duke Jiang a little uncomfortable, but he still snorted seriously. If you don't know, you might think that my Jianggu mansion is an inn. This place outside is your home, right? He has lived in the Duke's mansion for only a few years since he was a child. Jiang Yu didn't argue with him. He raised his eyebrows and followed him into the mansion. Today is the wedding day of Minister Su and the daughter of Academician Shin. Jiang Yu and Su Chun are on the same page in the military camp, so he guessed that they were going to attend the wedding today. Duke Jiang was quite satisfied with Su Chun, a boy who was capable of fighting and brave and resourceful. He had even specially appointed him as his deputy general in the military camp. Su Chun was captured by the enemy because he was protecting himself during the retreat. He owed that person a great favor. Today, there was a happy event in the Su mansion and he personally selected the gift and asked his confidant to deliver it to show his importance. Except for some special occasions, the Duke's mansion must attend the royal banquets in person. For banquets for officials, you only need to present gifts, using the value of the gifts to show the importance. There is no need to show up in person. Of course, you can go if you want, or ask the younger generation in your family to go. The concubine's surname was Ning, and her name was Ning Wei. She had already been waiting in the hall to prepare food to welcome the Duke back. Duke Jiang always came back late, so they had dinner late as well. She brought her son Jiang Yan and waited obediently, not forgetting to remind him. When you have some insight, take the initiative to serve soup to your father and tell him about your recent achievements in martial arts training. Jiang Yan hummed impatiently and retorted, why practice martial arts? I'm not cut out for it. Besides, no matter how your son practices, he only has eyes for that son. What's the point of me practicing? Even if you practice for your whole life, you will only be suppressed by others. Jiang Yan has given up. His mother has been planning this and that for him over the years, but Jiang Yu is still fine, isn't he? Nonsense, we are all your father's sons. As long as you study hard, how can your father not see it? Ningwei knew that although Duke Jiang did not care about the mother and son, Yenner was his own son.
How could he really not care about him?
If something unexpected happened to Jiang Yu, he would need someone to inherit the title, right? As he was speaking, his maid at the door spoke. The Duke is back. Madam and Master have been waiting for you for a long time. Upon hearing that Duke Jiang had returned, Ningwei quickly pulled her son up to greet him. However, she did not expect that Jiang Yu would also come in with him. Their smiles instantly fell. Why is he back? And with the Duke. Jiang Yu ignored Ningwei and went straight in and found a seat to sit down. Now that we've bumped into each other, wouldn't it be annoying? Duke Jiang had a serious expression on his face. He looked at Ningwei and Jiang Yan, then glanced at the nanny. How many times do I have to tell you to call your master the second madam and Jiang Yan the second young master? You are not distinguishing between the master and the subordinate. I think you, a lowly servant, are tired of living like this. Also, you didn't even show respect when meeting the prince. Have you learned all the rules? Duke Jiang really favors his eldest son and is trying to clear his name. The nanny was so frightened that she fell to her knees and kowtowed to beg for mercy. Please calm down, my lord. I am old and I said something wrong. Please calm down, my lord. Duke Jiang snorted again and said, Go get 10 boards yourself.
Yes.
The nanny bowed her head again, trembling all over. Ningwei's face was already very ugly. There was no mistress in the Duke's mansion. Wasn't she the only mistress? She had taken care of the household affairs for many years. Even if she had no merit, she had worked hard. Wasn't she worthy of being called a lady? My dear, Nanny Fong is old, and she is also an elder by my side. Her body cannot bear 10 beatings. Ningwei wiped the corners of her eyes with a handkerchief, looking as if she was crying, and she also pleaded for the servant. If you didn't know her, you would think she was very kind. No need to say more. A beating won't teach a lesson. Duke Jiang had spoken, and there was no room for regret, so Ningwei had no choice but to give up. As soon as she came over, she wanted to sit down, but Jiang Yu sneered at her. Now concubines are so ignorant of the rules? Ningwei paused, and Duke Jiang's hand, which had just taken the chopsticks, also paused, but he didn't say anything in the end. Jiang Yan heard this and looked at Jiang Yu angrily. What do you mean? Jiang Yu poured himself a bowl of soup and explained calmly. According to the rules of Kyoto, when the lord and his direct descendants dine, concubines and illegitimate sons are not allowed to sit at the table. Concubines are required to serve on the side. According to the rules, you cannot sit here now. He looked at Jiang Yan, his eyes full of provocation. My mother and I have been eating at the same table with my father for years. Even my father has never told us these rules.
Who are you to comment?
Jiang Yan still couldn't tell the difference between the big and small Wang and dared to yell at him. Duke Jiang's face suddenly turned unhappy. Jiang Yu still maintained a half smile on his face, but he retorted slowly. I'm telling the truth. You are a jerk, and Aunt Ning is a concubine. You can't eat at the same table with the master. Jiang Yan was so angry that his teeth were itching, but he couldn't refute it. He and his mother were indeed a jerk and a concubine now. Ningwei, who was standing aside, was so angry that she clenched her hands into fists, her nails almost scratching her skin, but she tried her best to suppress the expression on her face to avoid losing her composure. Her eyes instantly turned red, and she looked at Duke Jiang and started crying. My dear, I have been managing the Duke's mansion over the years and have been very diligent. I have been very considerate in taking care of the inner house, managing the servants, and attending banquets and social events. Even if I have no merit, I have worked hard. It is too sarcastic for the prince to speak so rudely as soon as he returns. He is really good at playing a pitiful role, and his acting skills come naturally. Most people would be moved when hearing her say this. But who is Duke Jiang? He had led troops in battles for so many years that he had already developed a very strong heart. Moreover, His concept of the legitimate and illegitimate families was very rigid. He just drank the soup calmly and said, "A was not wrong. You have indeed worked hard managing the Duke's mansion over the years, but you have also been very active in socializing and have maintained your reputation. When A was not around, I went to the military camp to train soldiers every day, leaving early and returning late. When I came back, I did not bother with you about these things. But now that you has mentioned it, you should follow the rules. You can have someone prepare the food and send it to my yard. From now on, you can have 3 meals a day in your own yard. And Jiang Yan, you are not young anymore and you still eat at the same table with your mother every day.
It is not right.
From now on, you can have your 3 meals a day prepared and sent to your own yard." Duke Jiang unconditionally favors Jiang Yu, and since Jiang Yu has already mentioned this, it is impossible for him not to give him face. Of Ningwei and her son turned blue and red, they were completely helpless against Duke Jiang's actions. Yes, he only has this one woman available in his backyard, but he uses her without any burden and calls it giving himself dignity. But your son didn't say anything, and you didn't mention it. Now that he has said it, you come to support him and slap yourself in the face? Husband, she wanted to say something, but Duke Jiang was so unhappy that he put down his chopsticks, so her words were stuck in her throat. Put your identity in perspective. I didn't say it before, because I was too lazy to say it. A Yu is the prince of the Duke's mansion. In this mansion, he is the only one except me. You just need to follow his words. Also, only the legitimate wife can call you husband. You should call me Duke. How many times have I said it? Duke Jiang was also very angry. He knew that Ningwei had been taking care of the household all these years, so he treated her as a tool. But since his son minded, he followed him up the stairs. Another knife stabbed straight into Ningwei's chest. She looked at Duke Jiang, and for a moment she was filled with shock and surprise. She didn't even know that for so many years, she had been so insignificant in his heart. Duke Jiang also hated her. She relied on his mother to beg him to marry her, and even used some tricks to give birth to Jiang Yan. He just couldn't get over this. If it weren't for this, Shinra wouldn't have gotten so angry that she fell seriously ill and became so weak that she eventually died of the illness. Because of this matter, he felt indebted to Shinra and Jiang Yu, so he indulged Jiang Yu like this. Jiang Yan also looked at his father in confusion. In the past, he would at most not eat the food prepared by his mother, but if he was really hungry, he would sit down and eat a few bites before leaving. But now, Jiang Yu indulged him, with just a few words. As a son, I feel disheartened. We are all sons, but he is the only one who is so dispensable? Yes, he admitted that he was not as good as Jiang Yu in many aspects, but he was his biological son after all. If you have nothing else, please leave. The prince and I will talk alone. Zhang Guogong spoke and asked Ningwei and Jiang Yan to leave. Ningwei was extremely reluctant. She had no choice but to leave with her son. Yes, Duke, I am leaving now. Ningwei's voice was trembling. She sounded like she was crying, and her nose felt extremely sore. When she turned around, she was filled with hatred. It doesn't matter. Jiang Yu won't be staying in this house for long and will leave. After he leaves, she will have the final say here. She should just be patient. After she left, Jiang Yu also finished a bowl of soup. The old man had just given him face. He was in a good mood now and, by the way, mentioned the matter with Suwan. I have a girl I like, Jiang Yu said frankly. Duke Jiang, who was eating, paused when he heard this, then looked at his son with a frown. A few days ago, he was worried about Jiang Yu's marriage. Jiang Yu is now 23 years old, and Jiang Yan, who is 2 years younger than him, already had 2 concubines. Only he had not even a maid to warm his bed for so many years. He was very anxious. So he set his sights on Joan Liar, the legitimate daughter of the shunned marquise. She is only 17 years old, extremely talented and beautiful. The most important thing is that the shunned marquise mansion does not have much influence or power, so a marriage with the Duke's mansion will be a good match, and the higher-ups will not have any objections. But now, he came up and said that he had a girl he liked, which caught him off guard. He had to find out who she was first. It didn't matter if she was of lower status, as long as she was suitable.
Who is it? Tell me about it.
The residence of the Minister of Personnel, the younger sister of Minister Su, the current Princess Xuanla, Su Wan. Zhang Yu introduced it solemnly, with a hint of pride in his tone. After listening to the story, Duke Zhang thought about it carefully. Princess Xuanla was well known in Kyoto. The things she had done, and her brothers were not ordinary people. Jiang Yu had been good friends with Su Chen in the military camp before, so it was normal for him to know Princess Xuanla. However, he had never met Princess Xuanla, so he could not comment on what kind of person she was for the time being. But considering the situations of the two families, it is not appropriate. The Su family is too powerful now. They have two ministers, one civil and one military. They have just married into the Grand Secretary's mansion. Their influence in the future will be very great. If they were to form an alliance with the Jianghu mansion again, I am afraid that the higher-ups would have objections. It's not appropriate. I hold military power, and the Su family is now at its peak, with too much influence. If you two were to marry, it would probably arouse the emperor's suspicion. Duke Jiang did not hide anything and directly pointed out the inappropriate points instead of saying forcefully that he disagreed. I know. I have considered all of this. That's why I didn't ask for a reward. I just waited here. I want to personally ask for the Emperor's order to grant me the marriage. If His Majesty agrees directly to my request, he will satisfy me with whatever I want. Good man. It turns out he had been planning this for a long time. As smart and resourceful as he is, he knew the interests involved early on, so he was unwilling to enter the officialdom at first. He just asked the Emperor for a big pie in case of emergency, and he is waiting here. The Emperor promised in the Hall of Supreme Harmony was a golden word, and he had to abide by it. Duke Jiang was stunned by his action. He said that when he did that, he knew that the boy had bad intentions. Nonsense. The Emperor did agree to your request. Some estrangements and suspicions are built up invisibly. How can I allow you to do such nonsense, including the hundreds of people in the Jiang family's side branches and the entire Jiang Guogong mansion? Minister Su's talent is obvious to all, and he will definitely not stop at the position of minister in the future. I also know Su Chen's ability. He is the best among the younger generation, and he will not stop at the position of Lieutenant General of the City Defense Battalion. The Su family will be very glorious in the future. If you marry them now, and I have the power of 100,000 soldiers in my hands, how do you expect His Majesty to guess? Let alone the Duke Jiang mansion, you have to consider the Su family too. The Su family has just risen. Are they going to give up their future glory because of this marriage? Duke Jiang was also considering the long term, and he was not forcing the couple to break up. If he were the emperor, he would probably think that they were plotting a rebellion. Serving the emperor is like serving a tiger. Since ancient times, those in high positions have been suspicious. The lives of hundreds of people depend on him, so how can he not take it seriously? It's my own marriage, I have my own say. At worst, I won't be the prince of this duke's mansion. Anyway, I still have Fengyue Villa, but you can't stop me from marrying anyone. Jiang Yu knew it all, so he didn't need to explain it to himself. However, he was determined to marry her, and no one could stop him. When Duke Jiang heard him say this, he angrily slammed the table and pointed at him and cursed. Unfilial son, you are talking nonsense. Listen to what you are saying. You are the only legitimate son of the Duke of Jiang's mansion. In the future, only you can take this position. Now, for the sake of your love, you are willing to disregard the lives of all the family members. You are simply unreasonable. I indulge you for your mother's sake, not for you to be so unreasonable. Speaking of Jiang Yu's mother, Jiang Yu snorted coldly. Are you worthy of mentioning my mother? Now you are talking about me like this, but back then you insisted on marrying my mother despite the opposition of the entire clan. After you got married, you ignored your promise to my mother, married that woman, and had a child with her. Are you worthy of her? It was an accident. I was completely forced into it. Duke Jiang was in the wrong, but he did not forget to refute, but his voice became weaker. Were you forced to do it? If you hadn't indulged your grandmother in her nonsense, crying, making a fuss, and even threatening to hang herself, and had been blindly filial, none of these things would have happened. Jiang Yu said, standing up excitedly. His mother is his Achilles heel, and he has a lot of resentment towards Duke Jiang because of his mother. At the beginning, old Madame Jiang cried, made a fuss, threatened to hang herself, and then went on a hunger strike before she forced Duke Jiang to surrender. Originally, he thought that she would just be a decoration in the mansion, but the old lady used the most disgusting method and sent Ningwei to his bed, and they got pregnant. In fact, as long as he stood firmer, with Madame Jiang's personality, could she really starve herself to death? Jiang Yu's mother had many conflicts with Duke Jiang because of these things, but she finally let it go for the sake of her children. However, her health deteriorated, and she only reported good news to her grandfather, but not bad news. In the end, she died of old age, and there was nothing she could do. Jiang Yu has always suspected that Ningwei and the old lady were related to his mother's death, but the old lady has passed away, and many things cannot be verified. At first, she disliked Jiang Xinro very much. She hated her, mocked her, and flattered Ningwei. If a person disliked someone, everything that person did was wrong. In the end, the father and son parted unhappily. Duke Jiang overturned the table in anger, and Jiang Yu finally left in anger. The spies arranged by Ningwei only knew that the father and son had a big fight, but they knew nothing about the content of the fight. Jiang Yu did not leave the Duke Jiang's mansion, but just returned to his own courtyard. He was determined about this matter. As he said, he would rather not be this shabby prince and marry Su Wan. Moreover, the reason why Duke Jiang flipped the table was because Jiang Yu said in a fit of anger, even if you don't agree with me becoming a live-in son-in-law, I still want to be with her. Regarding the self-cultivation of a qualified love brain, he always remembered what Su's mother said, that she was reluctant to let her daughter get married, and if possible, she would find a live-in son-in-law. However, he drank too much tonight, so the alcohol might have played a role. Duke Jiang heard this. Shwama have that made her son, who is always calm, self-controlled, and indifferent, so obsessed? But he seemed to have forgotten that he had gone through the same thing himself. However, fate is a fickle thing, and there is no medicine for regret. The next morning, in the main hall of the Su mansion, the mansion had been removed, leaving only the red lanterns. Su's father and mother waited for their daughter-in-law to serve them tea all morning. But they also sympathized with the couple as newlyweds. Maybe it will come later. So, he asked the children to have breakfast first, but unexpectedly, the couple arrived at the dining room on time. Su Jing supported his newlywed wife affectionately, and Shin Qingli leaned on his shoulder softly. Brother looked rosy and refreshed, and my eldest sister-in-law had a pair of beautiful eyes, but there were dark circles under her eyes. She used powder to cover them up in the morning, but the effect was not obvious. Her temperament became more charming overnight, like a peach that has finally ripened. Everyone understood. Su Wan was grinning from ear to ear, and so was Su's mother. It seems that her wish of becoming a grandmother is about to come true. Dad, Mom, your son and Master Qingli are here to serve you tea. The servants brought up hot tea. Su's father and mother sat on the high chair, having prepared red envelopes. There was a red paper with the word, happiness, written on it, and some silver notes were wrapped inside, a small token of appreciation for the daughter-in-law to use as private money. Shin Qingli held the tea and called them Dad and Mom one by one. Mr. and Mom Su smiled so much that their eyes narrowed into slits. To have a good wife. Su Wan looked at the scene. His parents looked happy. Now they were healthy, and his eldest brother's face was filled with happiness. It's great that she changed their fate. After serving tea, the family sat down to have breakfast, with laughter and joy throughout the meal. The eldest brother and the second brother each picked up some food for their wives. Su Mu had a hangover the night before. When he woke up in the morning, he found Sun Linger sleeping next to him. He felt ashamed of his behavior towards her last night. He pressed her down and kissed her like this. As a result, Su Mu didn't dare to look Sun Linger directly this morning. Sun Linger didn't think there was anything wrong. The more unnatural it was, the more likely it was something fishy. However, she was also relieved that the child finally got it. Yesterday was the wedding of Su Jing and Xin Qingli, and today is Su Wan's birthday. From today on, Su Wan is officially 18 years old, which is an adult in modern times. Day yesterday, so today the whole family will just stay at home with her and celebrate her birthday quietly. It's so hard to finally have a complete family together. Yesterday, Su Wan told Jiaqing to come again today because it was her birthday, so she was the only one invited. When Princess Jiaqing heard that she was Su Wan's only one, she was so angry that she insisted to come today and even prepare a birthday gift. Prince Xiang and the princess are very supportive of her playing with Princess Xuanla. Now that the Su family is at its peak and Su Wan's status is also noble, it's appropriate for the two of them to play together, isn't it? It just so happened that Jiaqing's personality was different from that of the ordinary noble ladies in Kyoto, and he had never been able to get along with them. But now it seemed that he and Princess Xuanla got along very well. Yesterday, Sun Linger had already carefully noticed the unusualness of Princess Jiaqing. Whenever she saw Su Qin, she would unconsciously avoid his gaze, and her ears would turn red. What did this mean? After returning from Prince Xiang's mansion where she attended the princess' birthday banquet, Su Wan gossiped with her about the chance encounter between Su Qin and Jiaqing. Isn't this a perfect example of a hero saving a beauty, a young general seeing injustice and drawing his sword to help, and a simple princess falling in love at first sight? When Su Wan heard her description, he also smelled something unusual. Jiaqing and the third brother sound like a good match, but if their family were to marry into the Grand Secretary's mansion and the Prince of Xiang's mansion successively, would the higher-ups really not think too much about it? Add to that the fact that she and Jiang Yu are involved, and Duke Zhang's mansion is involved, and the lineup for rebellion is complete. Second sister-in-law, are you sure that our family won't be too strong with this configuration? Su Wan now directly calls her second sister-in-law. It doesn't matter if a few months pass by. It's a foregone conclusion. Sun Linger thought about it carefully, and it seemed to be true. However, it was just her intuition, and she was not sure. Today is Su Wan's birthday, and the family has prepared gifts. Sun Linger made a pair of calming medicinal pillows by herself and put many fresh flowers in them. There is no strong smell of traditional Chinese medicine, but instead a very comfortable fragrance. Although it is not a valuable item, Sun Linger spent a lot of effort on it. This pillow can help you sleep better and prevent nightmares. If you sleep comfortably at night, you will naturally not have nightmares. Brother made her a bottle of facial ointment, which was green and a bit like a mud mask. This is something I developed some time ago. Apply it evenly on your face before going to bed every night, but avoid the eyes, mouth, and nose. Apply it for a quarter of an hour and then wash it off. It can make your skin firmer and smoother. If you have acne on your face, it will also have a very good effect. If you don't have acne, you can use it as a beauty ointment on a daily basis. It will only benefit your skin and not harm it. When Su Wan saw the mud mask, her eyes lit up. The ancients called pimples and blackheads acne. She didn't have these things, but many girls were troubled by this. Su Wan was thinking that it would be great if he could invest this into Bingjitang and turn it into a product for the market. The price does not need to be too high, everyone can afford it. It can not only increase Bingjitang's performance, but also help girls with bad skin to find a way to make their faces more beautiful. However, the Su family still does not know that Bingjitang is actually her property. She thought about it and decided to find a time to talk about it so that everyone would have an idea. Thank you, second brother. Do you still have the recipe for this ointment? I want it. After I use it up, I can continue to make it. Su Wan was very cunning and started to trick him. Su Mu and Sun Linger smiled in tacit understanding when they heard this, and Su Mu took out a prescription from his pocket. I've prepared it for you. Take it. The girl thought he didn't know. The Jade Face Cream was formulated by Sun Linger and is now very popular all over the country. Sun Linger had heard about it before and went to buy a box. When she got it back and saw that it was her recipe, it was not difficult to guess. Moreover, Don't the names Bingjatang and Yuyantang have the same meaning? Suwon's birthday was coming up soon, so the two of them discussed it and developed a recipe for an ointment to be used on the face. Everything went so smoothly, and it had been prepared long ago. When Suwon got the prescription, she still felt it was a little unreal. Looking at the expressions of my second brother and his wife, why do they look a little weird? Next, it was the turn of the eldest brother and sister-in-law. Shin Qingli had already made preparations. When she was sewing her own wedding dress, she also sewed one for Suwon. When women in the Jin dynasty got married, especially those from prominent families, they had to embroider their own clothes. Suwon saw that she didn't know how to do it, so she embroidered it for her. The two people were of similar stature, so Shin Qingli improvised and embroidered a wedding dress for her that was even more delicate than her own, with fine stitching and flowing lines. Su Jing is now married to Shin Qingli, and they are together now. Since his sister-in-law gave him the gift, he did not make any other preparations. Su Qin didn't know what to give. He hadn't been home for several years and had been absent several times, but he had no experience and wanted to show his appreciation. He remembered that the first birthday gift he gave to Suwon was a round fan, so after he got off work last month, he searched all over Kyoto and finally bought a double-sided embroidered round fan with a jade handle at a high price. It just so happened that the weather was about to get hot, and the noble ladies in Kyoto all had one in their hands. The female shopkeeper said that the one he bought was very easy to match with clothes, as long as it was embroidered with her favorite hibiscus flowers. When Suwon received it, he was truly amazed. The white jade felt very cool to the touch, and the jade was of good quality and crystal clear. But the most valuable part was the double-sided embroidery. Hundreds of taels to buy a round fan for his sister. Noble ladies bought round fans, mainly to match them with their clothes. Such expensive ones could only be placed on the windowsill to be admired, and they were reluctant to use them. Until now, she still keeps the round fan worth 5 taels of silver that her third brother gave her when she was 14 years old, and is reluctant to use it. Thank you, third brother. I like it very much. Suwon took the fan in his hand and couldn't let it go. On the fan handle, which is very delicate. I didn't expect that despite his rough image, the third brother has such good aesthetic taste. Sun Linger and Shin Qingli both came over and looked at the fan carefully. It was so delicate and beautiful. They loved it very much. So, Su Jing and Su Mu looked at each other. One touched his nose, and the other coughed to cover up his embarrassment. After Su Qin finished delivering the gifts, Su Yun's eye-catching bag came out. Ahem. You've delivered them all, right? Now it's my turn. His attitude, I wonder what he is going to do next. He clapped his hands, and a moment later, several maids came in carrying a clothes rack filled with all kinds of ruchuan skirts hanging on it. Red, purple, pink, green, cyan, and light yellow, and the bottom layer is also thoughtfully matched with shoes of the same color. Seeing this, Suwon couldn't help swallowing. This. Su-yi couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw Su Yun's conspicuous bag. Wanwan, happy birthday. I've said before that I want to buy all your clothes for the rest of your life. I'll have them made for you at the largest clothing store in Kyoto. You can wear these after summer starts. You can wear pink and light yellow for the spring banquet, which will make you look bright and pure. Wear purple and blue for weddings. Wear green and red for visits. I personally had someone draw the blueprints and sent them to you. I only started making them after I reviewed them. Take a look and see if you like them. Su Yun's arrangement was very clear, and there was nothing wrong with it. The Su family has a good aesthetic sense. Over the years, he has hired someone to make Suwon skirts, which are very much in line with her aesthetic taste. Suwon went forward to look at them one by one. They were indeed beautiful. The fabrics were all top-quality silk fabrics that dissipated heat and absorbed sweat, and they had a good feel and drape. Thank you, fourth brother. I like it very much. Each color has 4 patterns, including various flowers, butterflies, and birds. The same goes for shoes, so you don't have to wear the same thing twice this summer. The last one was Su-yi. Su-yi was clever and had customized a dressing table in the largest cosmetic shop in Kyoto. The wooden box is so beautiful, made of mahogany with patterns, like a food box, the octagonal one. There is a small turntable on it. With a slight turn, the box opens like a flower, with rouge, lip balm, eyebrow powder, all sorted out. Seeing this design, it was hard for Soo-won not to think of the modern couple who were separated from their children. However, this design is still very novel in Kyoto, and the raw materials of these cosmetics are of the best quality and do not harm the skin. The bottom layer contains many makeup tools, such as lip brushes, powder brushes, eyebrow brushes, etc. Sue's father and mother looked around and found that their sons had bought everything they needed, so the two parents had no idea what to prepare for their daughter. Therefore, Sue's father and mother planned to cook lunch themselves and make a bowl of hand-rolled noodles as longevity noodles. Now that we have everything we need, the thought behind our thoughts is more important than gold, silver, and jewelry. Dr. Sun, Grandma Yi, and Jang Yunha were also there. After discussing it, both sides unanimously gave a heavy red envelope. Now, Soo-won has too much money to spend. The annual net income of Bingjitang alone, excluding the expenditure on raw materials and workers' wages, is nearly 50,000 taels of silver. As he was speaking, Jiacheng arrived. Princess Jiacheng has arrived. She has prepared a birthday gift for you, and asked you to go to the front yard to take a look. The Su family members looked at each other, wondering what gifts Princess Jiacheng had prepared, and they had to go to the front yard to see. Sue's mother ordered the servants to quickly prepare tea and snacks to entertain Princess Jiacheng with great ceremony. Soo-won, Sun Linger, and Jiacheng played together for a whole day, and now they have become good sisters. As soon as they heard that she was coming, they ran out quickly. When he arrived at the yard, Soo-won was shocked again because Jiacheng was leading a pony in the yard. It's white, not very tall compared to ordinary horses, and has a very low chassis. He wore a red saddle and a headband with a ruby on it. This horse is so handsome, it looks like it was tailor-made for girls. Wanwan, you're here. Look, this is the birthday present I prepared for you. It's called Baoju. I'm giving it to you. Do you like it? Jiacheng raised an eyebrow at her. Today she was wearing a neat riding suit, dark red, and small boots of the same color. Her hair was also neatly combed into two large braids hanging in front of her chest, with a red glass chain wrapped around it. There were 2 strands of hair in front of her forehead. This outfit was neat yet noble. Just like in novels, the most favored junior sister in a big sect, with red lips, white teeth, bright eyes, and a small fong when she smiles. At this moment, she looked at Soo-won and smiled sincerely. Soo-won and Sun Linger came up and looked around the horse. The little pony Baoju was pure white, and its hair was shiny and smooth, and it was obvious that it was well-groomed. You really gave it to me? Soo-won pointed at Baoju, then pointed at his nose, a little incredulous. This little pony, Baoju, is very suitable for her temperament no matter from which aspect. She is not very good at riding a horse. Ordinary horses are very tall, and it is difficult for her to climb up them, and they are not easy to control. Jiacheng nodded vigorously. Well, I have 3 ponies like this, namely, Bao Shi, Bao Zhu, and Bao Hua. Sister Linger, do you like them? I will give Bao Shi to you someday, and we 3 can each have one. When we go out for an outing someday, they're just right for riding. They are very docile and easy to control. Jiacheng touched Baoju's head with his hand, and Baoju snorted. Soo-won also followed suit and touched Baoju. Baoju was very affectionate, as if she knew that she was going to change her owner. Thank you, Jejia. I will take good care of Baoju. Soo-won asked Luyan to take Baoju to the stable and specifically asked him to send Ma Ping out alone to clean up the place. Sun Linger had only met Jiacheng once, and he wanted to give her a horse. She felt really embarrassed. No need, my lady. You can keep the gemstone for Bao Hua to keep company. Unexpectedly, Jiacheng climbed onto Sun Linger's shoulders and said cheerfully, Don't be polite, Sister Linger. We are all good sisters, and good sisters should share together. What Wanwan has, you should have too. Sue's mother and Shin Qingli were watching from the side and didn't realize that Princess Jiacheng was so approachable. Shin Qingli had not had much contact with Jiacheng in the past few years. Most of the time, the princess followed the princess and greeted her, but she looked quite reserved. Now that she thought about it, it was probably because of the pressure from the princess. The brothers were standing in the corridor. Jiaqing glanced at Su Chen. In an instant, she let go of Sun Linger's hand and stood up straight. I haven't asked how Madame Su is doing yet. Jiaqing is here to greet you. And Madam, how are you too? Shen Qingli is now Su Jing's wife, and Su Jing is the head of the Su family, so she naturally becomes Madame Shen. How could Su's mother let a princess greet her, especially a princess from the royal palace? This was unacceptable. My lord, you are so polite. Please come in and have a seat for tea. Madame Su, you don't have to be too nervous about me. Just treat me as an ordinary girl. I'm here to celebrate Wanwan's birthday today. Having said that, Su's mother didn't dare to treat her as an ordinary girl. Shen Qingli smiled and said jokingly, Princess Jiaqing is really approachable. The sun is strong today. Let's go in quickly. The brothers are all at home today and don't have to go out to work. Su Jing has 7 days of wedding leave, and Su Chen has taken 3 days off.
Jiaqing woke Dora Su Chen.
Today, Su Chen happened to be standing in the center position. The 5 brothers bowed to her together. Princess Jiaqing, you have to follow the proper etiquette. As soon as Jiaqing saw Su Chen, his face turned red and his heart started beating fast. She lowered her head with a smile on her lips. No need to be polite, no need to be polite. Because of Sun Linger's words, Su Wan paid special attention to Jiaqing's reaction today. It was true that as soon as she saw the 3rd brother, she seemed to become shy. Brothers made way for him and respectfully invited him in. In the end, Jiaqing felt a little uncomfortable. Su Wan saw her discomfort and simply took her to her own yard. Once out of that hall, everyone felt at ease. 3 girls were playing in the yard, chatting, drinking tea, and gossiping. As they were talking, the topic turned to Su Chen. Wanwan, doesn't General Su have to go to the city defense camp to serve recently? The sudden appearance of the 3rd brother and the question asked by Jiaqing made Su Wan and Sun Linger stunned. Although, if Jiaqing really likes the 3rd brother, it seems that he would be quite good. He took 3 days off and will be on duty tomorrow. Su Wan said truthfully. Jiaqing nodded as if he understood, and then asked again. How old is your 3rd brother? I heard that he is very powerful on the battlefield, and the enemy is terrified when they hear his name. He must be very good at martial arts, right? Can he climb walls and fly over rooftops? Jiaqing talked about this. His eyes became starry. He is 23 this year. My 3rd brother is really good at martial arts. He is good at riding, shooting, and fighting. He can also climb walls and run on rooftops. When Su Wan talked about his 3rd brother, his tone and expression were full of pride. She said this. Jiaqing's eyes turned into admiration. Wow, that sounds amazing. Next month will be the annual Royal Hunting Festival, a 5-day hunting trip to Junshan. The emperor will bring all the princes, as well as the sons and daughters of the military families, to Junshan for hunting. General Su should be able to go, too. Wanwan, you are also a military family member, so you can go too. What I look forward to most every year is this hunting festival. By then, I should be able to witness General Su's elegance with my own eyes. She witnessed Su Chen's moves on the street last time. She concluded that Su Chen's martial arts must be very strong. She has been interested in these fighting and killing things since she was a child. Of course, I'm also interested in people. When Su Wan heard her talk about this royal hunting, it seemed that every costume TV drama had it, and it was a grand scene. She had never seen it before, and it was new to her, so naturally she wanted to join in the fun. He is the Lieutenant General of the City Defense Battalion. Even if he went, he would be going to protect the Emperor and the enclosure, right? It doesn't matter. As long as he goes, he can follow His Majesty in hunting. No one knew what Jiaqing was thinking, and Su Wan couldn't guess it either, but she looked very happy. However, it can be concluded that she is indeed very interested in the 3rd brother. At Duke Zhang's mansion, Zhang Yu was a little drunk last night and had a quarrel with Duke Zhang. When he woke up the next morning, he had a headache. The servants in the yard brought some stomach-warming porridge. Sir, the Duke has told you to go to the study to see him after breakfast. Zhang Yu thought about the conversation last night and frowned, Got it, go down. He remembered Wanwan's birthday today and had to go to the Su mansion in the afternoon.
Anan.
He called out to Anan, the guard guarding the door. Anan pushed the door open and came in. Young master, what do you want me to do? Prepare the wooden box I brought back from Zhongzhou and go to the Su mansion in the afternoon. Be careful not to damage it. Yes, young master. Anan received the order and retreated respectfully. No one knew what was inside that wooden box. It was so huge, and the young master treasured it very much. He put it in the carriage all the way back from Zhongzhou, and I guess he was going to give it to Princess Xuanla. Jiangyu ate a few bites casually, and then went to the study, where Duke Jiang was already waiting. On the way, he also met Ningwei, who was delivering snacks. It was rare that the Duke was at home today, so she had to show her courtesy and find out why he had quarreled with Jiangyu last night.
Who knows, we met halfway.
Madam, are you going to deliver some snacks? Ningwei saw him. She bowed to him reluctantly. Sir, I'm going to bring some snacks to the Duke. Jiangyu would not miss any opportunity to annoy her, and he winked at Anan. No need to go. I'll bring it to you. Ningwei was stunned when she heard this. The plate of pastries in her hand had already been taken away by Anan. Afterwards, Jiangyu ignored her speechless and resentful expression and took his people away. Your Majesty doesn't like sweet things. Anan, this cake is for you. Thank you for the reward, young master. I won't be polite. Anan ate while walking. Ningwei was so angry that her teeth were itching, but she couldn't do anything. After Jiangyu disappeared, she stomped her feet in anger and threw a can of fish food under the corridor into the water, causing quite a splash. The fish food was scattered, and all the koi in the pond gathered together. The housekeeper who was passing by saw this, and hurriedly called out to the servants, Go get the net and fish out the fish. The koi in this pond were carefully selected by the Duke. Don't let them get too full. After hearing this, Ningwei became anxious and panicked. Jiang met the study room where Duke Jiang was writing. On the white rice paper, he had written 4 big characters. Everything depends on human effort. When he had just finished, Duke Jiang took a look and was quite satisfied. Now that you're here, I won't talk to you about those empty words.
Sit down.
Let's talk about what happened last night calmly, father and son. Is that okay? In the eyes of the soldiers, Duke Jiang is a very serious and tall figure who keeps his word. Who would have known that in private he is so humble to his own son Jiangyu? Jiangyu raised his eyebrows and found a place to sit down. 5 years ago, I was chased and poisoned and stabbed several times. If it weren't for her and the Su family, I would have been a handful of dust, a wandering ghost. They detoxified me, healed my wounds, and took me in. Over time, I fell in love with her, and we loved each other. I couldn't live without her. She has been waiting for me all these years. Now that I'm back, I have to fulfill my promise. Jiangyu didn't waste time talking to him and got to the point. Hearing this, Duke Jiang stopped writing, looked at him and asked, Who is chasing you? It's all in the past. This is not the point. I've already dealt with it. Let's get back to the topic. Yu Wushang has become a disabled man. He is now bedridden every day and will not live long. He no longer poses a threat. Have you figured out your feelings? Are you unable to repay the favor of saving your life, or are you really in love with each other? It has nothing to do with saving my life. I still say that I must have her. If you don't agree, then I will not be the prince. Jiangyu's expression and tone made him look like he was here to inform you, not to discuss things with you. Duke Jiang felt his eyes go dark and he really wanted to pinch his own philtrum. He didn't know what sin he had committed to have such a rebellious son. He breathed a sigh of relief. This matter is not as simple as you think. We need to think about it carefully. You should at least let me meet the legendary Princess Xuanla before letting me make a decision, right? In the afternoon, Jiangyu came to the Su mansion and asked someone to bring in a large carved wooden box. He came here now, he didn't bring any visiting card. He just wanted to be thick-skinned and come directly. Su Wan continued to bring Jiaqing to play at her place in the afternoon. It was not until her third brother came to call her that she realized Jiangyu had come. The third brother also asked someone to bring a large box over. When it was opened, a zither was found inside. This zither is so beautiful, with a phoenix carved on it and painted. The wood used is rosewood, which exudes a pleasant fragrance. The material of the strings is also the best, but Suwon may not understand what the strings are made of. Feng Qiu Huang, he mentioned. He had said before that when she had completely learned how to play the guzheng, he would give her this Feng Qiu Huang, which had been passed down through generations. This is a top-notch product. It can be said to be priceless, and many people cannot buy it even if they have money. Jiangyu gave it to you. Do you want to go to the front hall to meet him?
Su Chen asked.
Jiangyu wanted to come to the backyard to see her, but his brothers were all at home today and had nothing to do. He wanted to take advantage of the situation, but he was afraid that it would not be easy. As soon as Jiaqing faced Su Chen, he became a quail, no longer chattering, but just stood aside quietly, looking particularly well-behaved. Suwon knew without thinking that it would be impossible for Jiangyu to be alone with her when he came today. Fourth brother Su Yun alone would drive him crazy. Third brother, you go first, I'll be right there. It's okay, I'll wait for you. When you get better, we'll go together. Su Chan came to deliver something, and there was nothing else to do anyway, so let's go together. Suwon nodded, and then took great pains to move the Fengqiuwang to the bedroom. During the process, Lu Yun and Lu Ying wanted to help, but were rejected by her. It can be seen how much she likes this Fengqiuwang. After Suwon went in, Jiaqing and Su Chun were the only ones left in the yard. Su Chun put his hands behind his back and smiled at her politely. Jiaqing lowered his head with a blushing face. Afterwards, she took the initiative to find a topic. General Su, what do you like to do? Facing Jiaqing's question, Su Chen felt a little uncomfortable. He had never spoken to girls before, so when facing Princess Jiaqing, he felt stiff all over. Reply to the princess, I don't have anything I particularly like to do. If you have to say one thing, then does it count as me liking to stay in the martial arts training ground and practice martial arts? Seeing him stuttering, Jiaqing couldn't help but laugh and thought he was so cute. General Su, it's really interesting to see you blushing. This is of course something you like. I usually like playing polo, pitching pots, archery, and riding horses. Do you play polo? If there is a chance in the future, can I invite you to form a team with me? Jiaqing is really a brave girl who knows how to take the initiative. When Su Chun heard that these were her hobbies, he found it incredible. The princess is indeed a carefree person, similar to Wanwan, and doesn't put on airs, which is a good thing. But I didn't expect that she actually liked these things that only men like to play with. I am proficient in horse riding and archery, but I have never seen polo played. Su Chin touched his head embarrassedly. Jiaqing watched his reaction. The cuter he found it. The longer he talked to him, the redder his face would be, and the softer his voice would be. General Su, do you always blush like this when you talk to girls? Jiaqing's words were shocking, and Su Chen's face turned red again, like a cooked shrimp. The princess is making fun of me. I don't talk to girls very often. He hardly ever talked to girls. In his daily life, he was mostly surrounded by men. At home, he only talked more with Wanwan. He also rarely talked to his eldest and second sisters-in-law, always trying to reduce his presence. He had never interacted with girls much, so when Princess Jiaqing teased him casually, he blushed. Su Chen's innocence, from beginning to end. Suwon saw the scene when she came out. She also observed secretly and saw Jiaqing teasing his third brother. She thought it was funny, but quickly came out to help. If I don't help, I'm afraid that third brother will really be in trouble. Jia, stop teasing my third brother. He has a slow temper and has never gotten along with girls. Apart from our relatives, most of the people around him are men. He can't stand your teasing. Suwon explained this, but Jiaqing only captured one piece of information. There is no woman around Su Chen. He is very simple and clean. I'm not teasing General Su. General Su is just too shy. Jiaqing smiled again with his hands covering his mouth. Su Chen felt like he was about to burn with anger and quickly turned around. Suwon looked at his third brother and realized that he was a general after all, but he would become so shy when talking to a girl for few more words. Chen thought that it was mainly because the princess' smile was so contagious that he didn't dare look at her directly. He felt nervous every time he looked at her. In the past, when he faced a woman, he would just treat her as a mute and ignore her. But Princess Jiaqing was quite talkative and he couldn't ignore her. General Su, when I have time next time, I will start a polo game and invite you to join me. You must come. Jiaqing launched an attack again. Su Wan would not stop him. Third brother was already so old, he should have some luck in love. Even if the two families were not in harmony, if they were really in love with each other, she would not be the bad person and try to break them up. Instead, she would bless them. As the saying goes, when enemies come, we will fight them. When floods come, we will block them with earth. There is always a solution to everything. Hearing this, Chen glanced at Su Wan quietly, only to see Su Wan smiling and nodding at him. So, he turned around and bowed solemnly to Princess Jiaqing. Thank you for the invitation, Princess. If things are not too busy, I will definitely come. Chen agreed. Jiaqing was so happy that he almost flew up and said excitedly, Well, you must come.
Well.
Chen wanted to say that he said it on the premise that he was not busy, which means that he might not come if he had something to do, but he had already agreed to it. How is he going to explain this? Wan, aren't you going to the front hall? Let's go. Jiaqing was in a good mood and pulled Su Wan out.
Princess Jiaqing,
I want to say. Chen followed behind, his voice neither loud nor soft. However, Jiaqing didn't hear a word. Chen had no choice but to give up and obediently followed behind to the front hall. In the front hall, Jiang Yu sat in his seat. On his side sat Jiang Yunhe and Dr. Sun and his wife. Opposite them, the four brothers of the Su family sat in a neat row, all looking at Jiang Yu. Su's father and mother sat in the main seats, and the atmosphere in the hall was a little stagnant. Jiang Yu sat in his seat very calmly, and Suyan looked at him with eyes that seemed to be spitting fire. The reason is simple, it's just because Jiang Yu announced something just now. Jiang Yu came in and saw that everyone was there. He knelt down directly in the hall, facing Su's father and mother and his brothers, very pious. He said that he would choose a day and personally ask the emperor to grant the marriage. Then he would come to the Su family to propose marriage to Su Wan, hoping that Su's father and mother would agree. He said this. Su's father and mother were naturally very happy because they had witnessed the friendship between the two children along the way. One is willing to wait for another, and one is willing to guard another. Su Wan is already 18 years old, and it is time for her to get married. Although her parents are extremely reluctant, they are also looking forward to this day. If the other party was Jiang Yu, they would be happy. They have not seen much of the world, and are not clear about the complicated relationships between the court and the families. They only know that they want their daughters to get what they want and live happily. In fact, the brothers knew that Jiang Yu was a good match for Su Wan, but when they heard him say that, they still felt uncomfortable, especially uncomfortable and very irritated. Xin Qingli and Sun Linger took people to prepare dinner, so they were not in the main hall. Su's mother only prepared a meal at noon, but Jiang Yu missed it. Now Xin Qingli is the mistress of the family, and it is her job to prepare dinner for guests. He came back, he happened to meet Su Wan, Jiaqing, and Su Chen, and the five of them went to the main hall together. In the main hall, no one spoke, but just sat there in a weird atmosphere. When Su Wan walked in, the first person he saw was Jiang Yu. That purple figure was particularly eye-catching. Jiang Yu was not wearing a mask today. He must have taken it off when he came in. At this moment, he was also looking at Su Wan with a smile between his eyebrows. When Jiaqing saw Jiang Yu, he did not recognize for a moment that he was the eldest son of Duke Zhang's mansion. Before, Su Chen mentioned Jiang Yu. Who is Jiang Yu? She had only heard of Prince Jiang, but not his real name, so it was normal that she didn't know him. Moreover, Jiang Yu's appearances in public over the years have been few and far between. Su Wan couldn't help laughing and winked at him. Seeing this, Jiang Yu's mouth immediately broke into a big smile. In the eyes of everyone, the interaction between the two was just an unabashed expression of affection through their eyes. Suyan felt that Jiang Yu was deliberately provoking them. When Su's mother saw her daughter coming, she waved to her and asked her to come over to her. Soo-won came over, held her hand, and walked to her side. Sue's mother smiled from ear to ear. Won-won, you just told us that he would ask the emperor for permission to marry her on a chosen day, and then come to our house to propose marriage. What do you think? Soo-won heard this, looked at her mother's happy expression, and her father nodding his head in approval. She then looked at her brothers who were all sitting there with stern faces. However, the culprit Jiangyu was sitting there with his legs crossed, looking nonchalant. It seemed that he was in a good mood, with an obvious smile on his face. He discussed this with Duke Jiang. Did Duke Jiang agree? Duke Jiang did know about it. In the morning, the conversation between the father and son ended with Duke Jiang giving in first. However, his stance was firm. He did not agree to what the two wanted, but he did not stop them either. Just say that this matter should be delayed for a maximum of 2 months. He needs to get to know Princess Xuanla first. Otherwise, it would be inappropriate for him to agree to their marriage without even meeting his future daughter-in-law. Moreover, the current situation of the two families is very clear. One move can affect the whole body. There are so many people in the Jiang family, and as the head of the family, he cannot be careless. Jiang Yu also agreed, but he still informed the Su family in advance. Otherwise, it would be unjustifiable for him to visit Wanwan at the Su family later. As long as Su's father and mother nod their heads, this matter will be easy to handle. Su's mother is really something. When asked what she thought in front of so many people, what else could she think? Of course she would accept it. Mom and Dad, I will listen to you. Soo-won answered with pretended reserve. Soo-yun couldn't bear it anymore and snorted deliberately to make himself felt. Humph, Mom, there's no need for you to ask her. She's already turned her elbow outward. Soo-won was so upset when she heard that. She couldn't refute it. Why was she so ungrateful? It was nonsense. This is just a normal relationship that develops naturally. Anyway, she didn't care about those twists and turns. If Jiang Yu wanted to marry her, he would find a way to clear the obstacles himself. Mother Su glared at Soo-yun directly. How can you talk like that? Are you itching for trouble? You're already a grown-up. Don't force me to slap you. Su's mother's inconsistent attitude towards her son and daughter formed a sharp contrast. Jiacheng laughed unkindly. The people in the Su family are really interesting.
Haha.
Seeing that the princess was laughing at him, Soo-yun blushed and muttered, Mother, Princess Jiacheng is still here. Can you please give me some face? Oh, you also know how to save face. Su's mother glared at him again. Soo-won looked at Soo-yun provocatively and raised his eyebrows. Soo-yun could only close his eyes and brainwash himself. I can't see. I can't hear. Jiacheng was still confused. It sounded like this purple-clothed man was the one Wanwan liked.
Who was he?
He needed the emperor's blessing for the marriage. She feels a little familiar, yet a little strange. She looks pretty good and is a good match for Wanwan. The other brothers looked gloomy. Su Jing suddenly stood up and looked at Jiang Yu. Prince, please come with me. I have something to tell you. And you come with me too. Su Jing glanced at the other brothers and motioned for them to follow. Jiang Yu raised his eyebrows, stood up calmly, and bowed to Su's father and mother. Uncle, aunt, excuse me first. Go, all of you, be polite to a Yu and don't bully him. Su's mother knew that her son's talk to Jiang Yu must be related to Wanwan. It is understandable that they have been feeling awkward because of the matter between a Yu and Wanwan. Soo-won also knew that this was something Jiang Yu had to deal with. Brothers are now her strength. With their support, she feels safe. She also knew that her brothers would not do anything to him. It was just a serious talk. The eldest brother was the head of the family now, and he had his own decisions on some matters, which was a responsibility to his family and a way of protecting his sister. As for Jiacheng, she was confused again. What the heck? What did Minister Su call that man in purple just now? Crown Prince? The 5 brothers of the Su family took Jiang Yu directly to Su Jing's study. After entering, there were chairs inside. Everyone found a chair and sat down, while Su Jing sat at the desk. Jiang Yu was calm and didn't feel restrained. He knew what to say next, and he had already thought about it and would try his best to give them a satisfactory answer. Prince, I asked you to come here alone because I want to ask you something about you and Wanwan. Brother, you don't have to be so formal.
Just call me a you.
You always called me that before. You are not shy at all, calling me big brother all the time. Su Yun said sarcastically. Thank you for the compliment, fourth brother. Jiang Yu replied politely, not afraid of angering Su Yun to death. You. Su Yun kept saying you for a long time but couldn't make any sense. I told you not to call me fourth brother. You're so much older than me. Don't you have any idea? We're a family now anyway, so why not just call her Wanwan? Jiang Yu said confidently. Sui held his forehead helplessly and looked at Su Yun, thinking that he was really incompetent and playful. You can't win the argument, you can't win the fight, and you still have to make yourself unhappy. Okay, Su Yun, shut up and get back to the point. And Prince, please be serious too. Su Jing glanced at the two elementary school students one by one. As soon as the eldest brother spoke, Su Yun immediately shut up, but he still looked unconvinced when looking at Jiang Yu's expression. Su Mu is still the same as before. When he has nothing to do, he doesn't talk much and has a rather cold temperament. He is an icy handsome guy with a wooden attribute. Su Qin was quite overexcited when he first found out, but now he's fine. He and Jiang Yu have been on the battlefield for several years, and their relationship is still there. He trusts Jiang Yu's character very much. After they had a fight before, he's fine now. Now, speaking of their marriage, to be honest, as long as Wanwan has no objection, he has no objection either. He is a cavalry general in name only. Now that the country is peaceful and there is no war, it is just a title. His main job is still in the city defense camp. When I went to the battlefield were, firstly, to defend my country and fulfill myself, and secondly, to achieve success and give confidence to my family. But now it seems that the eldest brother is the biggest confidence. Su Yun's temperament has never changed, like a firecracker. As for Su Yi, he is still the same squinty-eyed man who loves to smile, is deep-minded, sees things clearly, and is sarcastic. If he doesn't speak, it's fine, but when he does, it's always to the point. Sir, does Duke Zheng know about you and Wanwan's affair? Su Jing then began to ask the questions he wanted to ask.
I know. I've already told him about it.
Does Duke Zheng agree with what you are doing? Su Jing asked again. I didn't agree verbally, but I didn't object. I know what you're worried about, big brother. My father has the same concerns about our current family background and power, so he didn't agree directly, but said he would take the long view. But he said so, which means he agrees in his heart. In order to avoid the emperor's objection, we have to think of a way to be thorough. Anyway, big brother, don't worry about this. I, Jiang Yu, want to marry Wanwan, so these things are the things that the Jiangguogong mansion should worry about, and they will not affect the Su family in the slightest. When Jiang Yu said this, all the brothers present frowned at the same time, especially Su Jing. He thought for a moment and said, Duke Jiang holds military power, and I am now on duty at the Ministry of Personnel. Next year, the Minister of Personnel will retire and return home. There are many twists and turns in the marriage between our two families, and I don't need to say much. If we insist on the marriage, His Majesty will not be happy, which is a big hidden danger for both families. You and Wanwan have been in love with each other for so many years, and we have watched you go through it all. To be honest, you can't make the decision on your own when it comes to emotional matters. As a brother, I just hope that she can have a safe and happy life in the future. She is more than just family to us. Due to some misunderstandings in the early years, we were absent from her life for 10 years. From the beginning, we didn't even treat us equally. But if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have come to this point so quickly. If it weren't for her, my parents wouldn't be as healthy as they are now. If it weren't for her, perhaps my brothers and I might not have found the true meaning of life. She is the lucky star of our Su family. We don't object to you two being together. On the contrary, if it really doesn't work, I would rather give up everything I have now and let her get what she wants. Do you understand? When it comes to the word, treat everyone equally, Su Yun lowered his head in shame. He had misjudged people and had the wrong heart back then. Because of someone's few words, he glared at Su Wan, who had just returned, and always said things that made her uncomfortable. I didn't feel it at the time, but now when I think about it, the disappointment that flashed across Soo-won's eyes every time he said those hurtful words was real. But afterwards, she was still smiling and treating each of her brothers equally with an indifferent attitude, showing the same amount of love and care. Later, he paid special attention to this matter and always asked Soo-won to treat everyone equally. He always wondered, would she put him last because of what he had done in the past? Jong-yu, let me tell you, although I can't beat you and my status is not as noble as yours, if you dare to let Won-won down, I will take her back from you and hide her even if I don't want to live. I don't care what difficulties you have. Since you promised her, you have to do it. I don't care. As Soo-yun spoke, his eyes turned red, his nose felt sore, and he almost burst into tears. Seeing Soo-yun like this, the brothers became even more depressed. Soo-moo knew very well that Jong-yu was not penniless in addition to his identity as the eldest son of Duke Jong, as well as Fongyue Villa. He could abandon one identity anytime and anywhere and still have another one. No matter which identity he used, he could protect Won-won well. Over the years, he had been traveling abroad to study medicine and had spent the least time with Soo-won, but he had long regarded her as his only sister and loved and protected her as much as anyone else. As rational as he is, he still feels sad. Soo-yi now thinks that among the 5 brothers, he seems to be the only one who has not achieved success or fame. He is still stuck in the same place, with no improvement, little money earned, and no reputation in Kyoto. He can't even say the words of giving Soo-won confidence, and they seem pale and powerless. Jong-yu looked at them, each of whom spoke in a serious and earnest manner, and he felt unhappy. But he was not unprepared and unexpressed. Won-won is not only the Soo family's lucky star, but also my lucky star. I promise that after marriage, I will not live with Won-won in the Duke's mansion. I have already bought the house next to the Soo mansion. When the time comes, I will open a side door to connect to the Soo mansion. In the future, Won-won can go home every day. I have also discussed with my grandfather that half of the property in Fongyue Villa will be under Won-won's name. What do you think, brothers? He knew that the Soo family was reluctant to part with Soo-won, so he asked someone to buy the empty house next to the Soo family. After he married Soo-won, he would move in with her. By connecting the 2 houses through a door, they can still see each other every day. No matter how the people in Kyoto gossip about them in the future, it doesn't matter. As long as the Soo family is satisfied and Soo-won is happy, it's fine. I know that my uncle and aunt are reluctant to part with Won-won. She is the only daughter in your family and the youngest one, so I have already made plans. It just so happens that I am not very close to my family in Kyoto. You, second brother, know the power of Fongyue Villa best. Putting half of the property in Won-won's name is my sincerity to her and to the Soo family. Moreover, I have made preparations. If His Majesty is unwilling, I will voluntarily give up my status as the Crown Prince. This status is like a floating cloud to me and is dispensable. Do you think this is feasible? Jong-yu put away his usual laziness and looked at the 5 brothers of the Soo family with a serious face, with a rare sincerity in his eyes. Jong-yu said was indeed beyond the expectations of several people. They did not expect that he had made so much preparation and sincerity in order to marry Won-won. To move next to the Soo mansion. It's good to live next door. I agree with this wholeheartedly. We can still see Won-won every day in the future. If someone bullies her, we can be there to protect her immediately. As for bullying Soo-won, that is impossible. It would be good enough if Soo-won does not bully Jong-yu in the future. After moving in after marriage, she is the boss and does not need to look at anyone's face or deal with others. She can do whatever she wants. At this point, Soo-yi, who had been silent all this time, spoke up and sneered. It's easy for the prince to say that he can give up his status for Won-won, but Duke Jeong may not agree. You are the only direct descendant of the Duke's mansion. How can he agree to you giving up this status? Besides, unless you sever your relationship with him, if you just give up your identity, in everyone's eyes, you are still his son, which makes you seem a bit ambiguous. Soo-yi's words were always so sharp that Jeong-yu was silent, not knowing how to respond.
But this is also a fact.
Duke Jiang favors his deceased wife and legitimate son, and everyone in Kyoto has seen it. Even if Jiang Yu does not become the crown prince, he is still Duke Jiang's son. It is indeed a case of trying to cover up one's own faults. Fifth brother, I know what you're worried about, but please give me some time. I will definitely be able to solve these problems perfectly so that both the Jianghu mansion and the Su mansion will be safe and sound, and it won't affect anyone. It won't take too long. Jiang Yu was a little distressed. For the first time, he felt a sense of powerlessness about the current situation. He didn't care about the situation in Kyoto before, but as Duke Jiang said, he had to take into account the lives of hundreds of people in the Jiang family and its branches. Wanwan is already 18 years old and still hasn't found a marriage. I'm afraid that others will talk about her and ruin her reputation. I hope that the prince will keep his word, and at least this matter can be resolved before the end of this year, right? Su Yi is a thoughtful person and thinks a lot, but among these 5 brothers, he is the most decisive and hard-hearted. Anyway, it is necessary to put more pressure on him. It won't take that long. When I returned from the battlefield, I refused the emperor's reward and specifically asked for a gift. I thought there would be such a day. Now it's just the right time to use it. I will find a chance to see the emperor. He is the toughest one. He is the first one who dares to be so tough with his majesty. He always keeps his word. If his majesty knew that he had played a trick on him like this, he would probably be furious, and then the one who would suffer would be the resentful father, Duke Jiang. He is truly his father's dearest son. Su Jing has been sitting here for such a long time, and his brows have never relaxed, but Jiang Yu has said so just give him a chance and let him get busy. However, there were some things he still had to tell him, even if it would upset him. Some time ago, several ministers in the court asked me about Wanwan's marriage, and it seems that they are interested in marrying into our Su family. You have to hurry up. This is true. Those who come to ask are all high-ranking officials, and they extend many olive branches. Sure enough, Jiang Yu's face turned dark in an instant, and he asked in a deep voice, "Who are they?" Su Jing raised his eyebrows and felt really happy when he saw Jiang Yu's reaction. I don't know when he became so sinister. Huh, our Wanwan is so popular? Su Yi, the scheming boy, added some fuel to the fire. Jiang Yu's face darkened even more. No matter who it is, no one is worthy of our Wanwan. Su Qin said proudly. Their Wanwan deserves the best in the world, and those toads should just get lost as far away from them. Not long after Su Jing and the others left, Jiaqing finally found an opportunity to ask Su Wan what was going on. Su Wan just remembered that she didn't seem to know Jiang Yu and didn't know anything about them, so she patiently explained it to her. She explained her relationship with Jiang Yu, but she didn't tell the ins and outs of it. She just simply acknowledged her relationship with Jiang Yu. Anyway, everyone in Kyoto will know about it in the future, so it's not impossible to tell Jiaqing in advance. After listening to this, Jiaqing felt that he seemed to have some misunderstanding about Jiang Yu. I thought he was really as ugly as the rumors said, so he always wore a mask when he appeared in front of people. I didn't expect that the prince was not as ugly as the rumors said. On the contrary, he was so handsome. If he didn't wear a mask, I guess I don't know how many noble ladies in Kyoto would be fascinated by him. Although I don't know why, he must have his own reasons. Now she has finally resolved her previous doubts. She feels that Wanwan and Prince Jiang know each other and are very familiar with each other. She wonders in her heart how they know each other. But now she knew, and she was happy with it because when Su Wan and Prince Jiang stood together, they were very compatible in terms of status and appearance. They were simply a perfect match, a match made in heaven. In the evening, everyone sat together to celebrate Su Wan's birthday. The table was full of dishes that she liked, with a bubbling hot pot in the middle, which was spicy. Yesterday, Jiaqing ate the banquet hosted by the Su family and was completely shocked. When he saw the table today, it was even more luxurious and sumptuous than yesterday's banquet. After eating them one by one, she showed a satisfied expression. She was so touched, and they were so delicious. Mrs. Su, can I come to your house often for meals in the future? Your food is really delicious. She looked at Su's mother and asked. Su's mother is so hospitable, and Princess Jiaqing has such a good personality. There is no way she could refuse. No problem, Princess. You can come whenever you want. We welcome you anytime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jiaqing smiled again, revealing his fangs. Seeing her smile like that, Suchin couldn't help but laugh along with her, and sighed that Princess Jiaqing was truly a person of temperament. After dinner, Su Wan and Sun Linger sent Jiaqing to the carriage and watched her leave before returning. Before leaving, Jiaqing said that he would have someone send the gem over tomorrow to give to Sun Linger. Sun Linger said no, but she insisted that sisters are more important than anything else and that she must have everything Su Wan had. This sweet burden made Sun Linger dizzy. During the day, after Jiang Yu had talked it out with his brothers, everyone seemed less resistant to him meeting Su Wan alone. So, before he went back, he came to see Su Wan on purpose. Happy birthday. This is a gift for you. Do you like it? Jiang Yu came to say happy birthday to her before he left. Only has the two of them. Su Wan nodded vigorously, took his hand and went into the house and asked him to sit down. She put the Feng Qiuwang in a good place. But now she was ready to take it out and play a song for him herself. Jiang Yu was afraid that she would have a hard time carrying such a big box, so he stood up to help her. He stood behind her, hugged her from behind, and his warm breath sprayed on her ears. Don't move. I'll help you get it out. He really would flirt with her whenever he got the chance, and Su Wan was really crying. Su Wan crawled out from under his arm and waited for him to move Feng Qiuwang out and place it on the table where she had always placed it. The other one was temporarily placed in another place. It is indeed a masterpiece, something that has been passed down for generations. It is so exquisite that I am afraid I might accidentally break it. It's okay. If it breaks, just find someone to fix it. Jiang Yu's tone was very casual, as if the Feng Qiuwang was not an antique, but just an ordinary musical instrument. No, that won't do. This is something your mother left for you, right? Since it's something your mother left for you, I have to keep it well. Su Wan gently stroked the pattern on it, but what she said made Jiang Yu stunned. How do you know it was left by my mother? Jiang Yu remembered that he didn't seem to say that it was left by his mother. Then how did Wanwan know about it? Su Wan's heart skipped a beat when she heard that. Why did she know that? Of course, it was because she had read the original novel. This Feng Qiuwang appeared in the later part of the novel, and it was mentioned that it was left by Jiang Yu's mother. I'm just guessing, is that not okay? She could only get away with it this way. Jiang Yu frowned, but didn't ask any further. He once said that no matter what she did or said, he would not question it, even though she had her own little secret. Yes, of course. What song do you want to hear? I'll play it for you, Su Wan said as he adjusted the timbre of Feng Qiuwang. Now, she is considered an old hand and is no longer the newbie who couldn't even adjust the tone. Jiang Yu looked at her skilled appearance and smiled dotingly. I want to listen to Feng Qiuwang. Jiang Yu was interested in this piece of music after all. He was the one who taught it himself. Su Wan also guessed it, so he nodded in agreement. Jiang Yu brought a stool and sat next to her, listening quietly to her playing the piano. This Feng Qiuwang is truly a masterpiece, impeccable in every aspect. The top-notch tone and moving melody make people indulge in it unconsciously. Jiang Yu was standing next to her, supporting his chin with his hand and looking at her intently. The more he looked, the more fascinated he became. To be honest, before he met Su Wan, he never thought that he would be so obsessed with a woman in his life. The song ended. Su Wan saw Jiang Yu still in a daze, so she took the initiative to kiss him on the lips. Jiang Yu reacted. She had already left his lips. Almost subconsciously, he reached out and grabbed her arm, brought her over, let her sit on his lap, and hugged her for a passionate kiss. The next morning, someone suddenly came to the palace. It was the chief servant beside the emperor, Servant Liu, who came with his men. Su Jing came out with his whole family to meet him. He was the chief servant beside the emperor. When he came to the Su mansion, it meant that the emperor had given instructions, so naturally he dared not neglect it. Minister Su, the emperor has ordered the fifth son of the Su family to come to the palace to meet the emperor. The emperor also specifically instructed that I don't know if the fifth son's wedding banquet picture has been completed. If it has been completed, please bring the wedding banquet picture with you to meet the emperor. Upon hearing the news, everyone in the Su family was surprised. Except for Su's mother, everyone thought that the emperor suddenly summoned the fifth brother because he had done something wrong, or because the paintings he made violated some taboo. In short, the elderly tend to think too much. But everyone else knew that Su Yi's chance had come. The emperor must have heard about Su Yi's talent, so he summoned him to the palace and specifically asked him to bring the wedding banquet map. Su Jing couldn't help but smile, turned to look at Su Yi and asked, "Old Five, have you finished drawing the wedding pictures?" Su Yi seemed to be stunned by this sudden surprise, and stood there at a loss for a moment. It was Su Wan who pulled his sleeve to indicate that his elder brother was asking questions. Su Yi finally reacted and quickly replied, "It has already been painted. You can go anytime. In that case, please bathe and change your clothes, then bring the wedding banquet map with you to the palace to meet the emperor." Servant Lu spoke in a shrill voice, and his face was full of wrinkles when he smiled. To bathe and change clothes before attending court. The emperor's majesty cannot be despised. Ministers have to bathe before attending court every day. Su Yi, an ordinary citizen, is no exception. Please wait a moment, Servant Lu, and go to the side hall to have some tea and snacks. Su Jing politely took him to the side hall. Su Yi went to take a shower and change his clothes. His mother prepared a set of light blue robes for him, which were new from head to toe. Su Wan was really excited, because if nothing unexpected happened this time, fifth brother would become famous in one battle. His name would soon appear in the Confucian scholar circle in Kyoto, and he would have a place there. Great news! Fifth brother has finally waited for this day. In the side hall, Shen Qingli took a heavy purse and stuffed it directly into Servant Lu's hand. "Thank you for your hard work, Servant Lu. Here is some money for the tea.
Please accept it."
It's not Shen Qingli's influence, but it's just the rule. Servant Lu is a popular figure around the emperor. He has come all the way here, so he still has to pay for his hard work. Moreover, giving appropriate benefits is also a way. Many officials rely on contacting the servants who have a say in the palace to understand the emperor's mood and avoid stepping on minefields. These servants are all shrewd people. If someone gives it to them, they will take it. So, he naturally took the purse given by Shen Qingli, which contained at least 100 taels of money. "Then we would like to thank Madame Su for the reward. Please help look after my brother-in-law when you come to the palace. Thank you for your help." Shen Qingli took the opportunity to make this request. Not to mention, she had only been married for 2 days, but she already had the style of a mistress of the house. Soon, Su Yi finished bathing and changing his clothes. He packed his newly completed wedding banquet painting in a box and set off with Servant Lu. "Aging, will your fifth brother be in trouble when he goes to the palace this time?" Mother Su looked at the direction where Servant Lu's carriage left and asked Su Jing worriedly. Seeing this, Shen Qingli smiled and comforted. "Don't panic, mother. My fifth brother has become successful. I think it's because some time ago my father went to the palace and told His Majesty that my fifth brother is a painting genius. He also specially took a portrait that my fifth brother painted for my mother a few years ago for His Majesty to review. I heard that the emperor recently wanted to redraw portraits for himself, the empress, and the other ladies in the harem, so Dad recommended my fifth brother to His Majesty. In addition, on the day of the wedding, my fifth brother made a lot of noise when he painted the wedding banquet. I'm sure His Majesty is also curious about his ability and whether it's as good as the rumors say. Anyway, nothing will happen if he goes this time." After hearing her daughter-in-law's explanation, Su's mother felt a little relieved. Children and grandchildren have their own blessings. Why do you always worry about their shortcomings? Just relax. Father Su saw things clearly. "Mom, my fifth brother is a careful and thoughtful person who knows how to read people's minds. He is a very measured person. You don't need to worry about him getting into trouble. If it's Ayun, you can worry about him." While Su Jing was praising Su Yi, he also brought up Su Yun for comparison, which instantly made Su's mother laugh. Su Yun himself was full of question marks.
What?
Is this how you play the game of stepping on one and praising the other? Brother, look at what you said. I'm not that bad. Su Yun felt so wronged. Su Wan laughed unkindly, praising his elder brother for being so sharp. Su Yun was immediately unhappy. He looked at Su Wan with his hands on his hips and refuted confidently. Yes, I'm not very good at talking. Don't eat the food I cook in the future. Don't worry, fourth brother. It's okay if I'm wrong. When Su Wan heard that he was not allowed to eat the food he cooked, he was very upset. After all, he was the recognized chef in the family. It's too late. Su Yun crossed his arms with a proud look on his face. The brother and sister were playing and fighting, and the atmosphere was very cheerful. The elders and brothers all smiled indulgently upon seeing this. Su Chun went to the city defense camp to work today and didn't know that his fifth brother had been summoned. He rode a horse and led his team on routine patrols on the streets, doing his job conscientiously. Not far away, Jia Qing's maid climbed on the window and observed quietly. When she saw Su Chun appear, she immediately called her own princess. Princess, General Su has appeared. When Jia Qing heard this, he suddenly woke up from his drowsiness. She quickly ran to the window and saw that it was Su Chun riding a tall horse and patrolling the streets in silver armor, looking very majestic. She adjusted her hair and clothes and dressed in a rare ladylike style today. Come on, let's go down. Jia Qing came to the first floor of the tea house, took advantage of the opportunity when Su Chun passed by, and came out at the right time. General Su, what a coincidence I meet you again. Su Chun was looking straight ahead, working with a serious face, when he suddenly heard Jia Qing's voice. Her voice might be because he had heard it a lot recently, so it was very familiar to him. Turning his head, he found Jia Qing standing on the steps looking at him. Today, she had changed from her grassland style of yesterday and was wearing a silk gauze skirt that reached her chest, revealing her swan neck and delicate collarbone. Su Chun looked at the delicate white skin and slender neck, which seemed like it could be broken with a slight pinch. Soon, he was shocked by his own shameless thoughts, which made the tough guy blush again. Hello, Princess Jia Qing. What a coincidence. Su Chun stuttered a little, and it seemed that he was like this only with Jia Qingkai. It was indeed a coincidence that they saw him every day in just a few days. Behind him, perhaps they felt embarrassed, so they said to Jia Qing, Princess, I have official business to attend to, so I will leave now. Please be careful on the street alone. He saluted her while riding on his horse, and then drove away again after he was done. Jia Qing looked at his back and smiled foolishly. He told me to be careful. He's concerned about me, right? He's so considerate. Xiao Qing, the maid beside her, didn't know what to say when she heard this. Princess, it's really hard to judge you, this nymphomaniac. You dressed up so beautifully just to meet General Su by chance, and then say a few words and leave? Afterwards, Su Chun seemed to always run into Princess Jia Qing when he went out on patrol every day. It was such a coincidence that he found it a little hard to believe. Su Yi entered the palace smoothly and followed servant Lu to the emperor's bedroom, the Zichen Hall. On the way, I was deeply shocked by the majestic palace with its green bricks and jade tiles. This is his first visit to the palace, so it is very memorable. The emperor was wearing a bright yellow dragon robe and was reviewing memorials. Su Yi and others were waiting outside, and Servant Lu went in first to report. Not long after, Servant Lu reappeared and invited him in to see the emperor. After entering, Su Yi knelt down immediately and kowtowed. I, the humble commoner, pay my respects to His Majesty. Long live the emperor. The emperor put down the memorial and looked up at the young man kneeling below. The Grand Secretary talked to him about it. It sounded so magical that he wanted to see it in person. It just so happened that he was very interested in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and he also wanted to know whether the gifted young man that others talked about was real. Get up and talk. Thank you, Your Majesty. Su Yi stood up from the ground. Even so, he still kept his head slightly lowered and did not look around. The emperor carefully observed the young man and found that he was not panicked in front of him and behaved politely, which was good. I heard from the Grand Secretary that you are extremely accomplished in painting and have a natural talent. I have seen the portrait you painted for Madame Shun, and it is indeed stunning. This time I summoned you to the palace, and I want you to paint a new portrait for me, the queen, and all the concubines in the harem. Are you willing? The so-called court portrait is a portrait of a deity wearing court robes. Sui heard this and immediately bowed. In reply to the emperor, I am willing to do so. Haha, you seem eager to try. You must be very confident in your own abilities. The emperor thought that he would be a little shocked and hesitant after hearing about it. After all, they were portraits of the emperor, the supreme ruler of the dynasty, and the empress, the mother of the country. If it was messed up, he would be unhappy and punish him. Unexpectedly, the young man looked very expectant. It seemed that the grand scholar was not bragging. Your Majesty is willing to give me a chance. I should seize it. Opportunities are rare in life, and if you encounter one, you must hold on to it firmly. Sui was very frank, and the emperor admired his true nature, and then he laughed even more heartily. Okay, well said. I also heard that on the day of Minister Su's wedding, you painted a wedding banquet picture on the spot.
Did you bring it with you?
I wonder if I can have the honor of appreciating it? The emperor's use of the words, "May I have the honor," was really scary. Even if Sui was calm, he couldn't help but panic a little. As the saying goes, serving the emperor is like serving a tiger. Every polite word the emperor says from time to time is enough to make you nervous for a long time. The painting was in the hands of servant Liu, who called in a few young servants and opened the painting in front of the emperor. This wedding banquet picture is 2 meters long. It records in detail the area from the front hall to the backyard of the Su mansion on the day of the wedding banquet, from front to back. The characters above have all existed on the scene and are flesh and blood. Some important figures even had details painted on them with gold powder, and you can see their names if you look closely. If you look at it from the side in the sunlight during the day or with a candle at night. The emperor stepped down from the dragon throne, walked to the front of the wedding banquet picture, and began to observe it carefully, with his waist slightly bent. Sui stood aside quietly and obediently. This painting reflects the marriage culture of Jin state to a great extent, and it also shows the prosperity of this dynasty. The characters above, from high-ranking officials to waiters, each one is so three-dimensional and vivid. The smile on the face and the body movements are so lifelike. Everyone's clothing also well expresses the multicultural clothing characteristics of the Jin state. The hairpins and rings worn by the noble ladies also indirectly illustrate the advanced level of various crafts in this dynasty. The structure of the houses and the layout of the interior and exterior scenes can also well illustrate the aesthetic taste of the Jin dynasty, and it is evident everywhere that this was an elegant dynasty. If this painting were passed down to later generations, it would be living evidence of the Jin dynasty's power and prosperity. No matter how many years have passed, whether dynasties have changed, or even if times have changed, the preservation of this painting will be very helpful for archaeological work. The most important point is Suyi's careful thoughts. There is a scenery in the picture, which is a yard full of hibiscus trees. Although the hibiscus has not bloomed yet under his pen, those hibiscus flowers are in full bloom. In the courtyard, a young girl in purple clothes is swinging on a swing. You can clearly see that the hairpins she is wearing are all hibiscus flowers. She was the only one in this scene. As the emperor watched, he kept nodding his head, exclaiming in admiration, and even laughing with joy. Great, great, this wedding banquet painting is so well done. Our Jin kingdom has no shortage of night banquet paintings, but there are very few that can capture the essence. Doesn't this wedding banquet painting just show how prosperous our Jin kingdom is, and how peaceful and prosperous the country is? Sui, you're great. The emperor put his hands on his hips, with a big smile on his face. He even gave Sui a thumbs up, wearing a jade ring on his thumb. Sui kept smiling and lowering his head, looking very humble. Your Majesty, thank you for your praise. You deserve it, no need to be modest. It's just that in this courtyard, the hibiscus flowers are in full bloom, and there is only one girl. This season is not the season for hibiscus to bloom, but what is the purpose? After listening to his description, Sui naturally knew what he was referring to. In reply to your majesty, the purple-dressed girl swinging on the swing is my sister, Princess Xuanla. She has always loved hibiscus, but if I were to paint her alone in the courtyard, it would be too low-key. So, after much thought, I added the blooming hibiscus. I originally wanted to record the grand occasion of my brother's wedding so that my descendants can see it in the future, and I also wanted to give my younger sister something unique, so I came up with this idea. He never thought that after the painting was completed, the first person to see it would be the emperor. It can be seen that all of you brothers in the Su family love Princess Xuanla very much. The princess has a sense of justice and is indeed worthy of your favor. However, I'm afraid you won't be able to take this wedding banquet picture back today. The emperor did not ask too many questions about this. It was understandable that someone favored his own sister, but the last sentence made Sui unable to remain calm. Your Majesty, could you please stop punctuating your sentences like that? It makes me feel uneasy. I can't take it back today? Faced with Suyi's confused expression, the emperor suddenly felt that it was really interesting to tease young people. Don't panic, don't panic. I want to ask if you can give me this wedding banquet picture. I want to keep it in the palace and pass it down through the ages, so that future generations can see that the wedding customs and human relationships of our great Jin dynasty are prosperous and flourishing. So that's how it is. Sui breathed a sigh of relief. This is great. Whether it is kept in the palace or distributed among the people, there is a lot of knowledge involved. Once any cultural relic is labeled as being produced by the imperial palace, its value becomes immeasurable.
Of course I can.
Your Majesty, I am so lucky to have you think highly of me. It's a pity that this painting cannot be shown to Wanwan alone. You call yourself Master Wuyang, right? His Majesty saw the signature seal in the corner of the painting.
Suinotet.
What is the origin of this name? The emperor asked again. So Sui explained to him why he called himself Wuyang Jusher and the origin and meaning of this name. His Majesty also nodded in agreement as he listened. Afterwards, he asked servant Lu to spread the wedding banquet painting on the table, and then found a seal and stamped it with the imperial seal under the signature of Su Youyang. Therefore, the value of this painting reached a new level. Sui looked at the seal that symbolized the supreme power, and his heart was so overwhelmed that he almost cried for joy. Shall Luzi pass on my oral order and have the Shanggong Bureau expedite the making of a seal for Master Wuyang, and then make a plaque and send it to the Su mansion. Find someone to go to Rui Pavilion and clean up a side hall for Master Wuyang to stay in temporarily. For the next period of time, Master Wuyang will need to paint portraits for me and the concubines in the harem, so be sure to arrange a few more people to serve him. The emperor's action was tantamount to recognizing Suyi's identity as a painter and gilding his name. Being bestowed with an imperial seal and plaque, what a great honor. The emperor attached so much importance to Master Wuyang. Servant Lu knew what to do and immediately went to do the work, not daring to delay for even a moment. What kind of fortune is this for the Su family? A big celebrity has appeared around the emperor. This is really a stroke of luck. In the future, you must try to curry their favor, as they are a family of rare talents. Sui knelt down again and kowtowed. Thank you, Your Majesty, for your grace. Long live the emperor. Long live the emperor. Stand up. No need to be polite. The emperor waved his hand, his eyes still fixed on the wedding banquet picture. This university scholar is indeed a man of integrity. He simply appreciates talented young people. After court tomorrow, we must keep them all here to appreciate this wedding banquet picture. Sui soon moved to Rui Pavilion, and servant Lu also arranged 2 young servants to serve him. Later, he sent someone back to the Su mansion to pass on the message that Master Wuyang would stay in the palace for a while to worship the emperor and the empress. Specially sent someone back to deliver the message and to pack a few more sets of clothes for Sui to take to the palace. Upon hearing about Suyi's good fortune, the Su family was simply thankful to God and burned incense. Suwon didn't expect that the 5th brother's starting point seemed to be better than in the original book. From then on, he was successful. The next day, after the emperor left court, He came to Rui Pavilion after reviewing the memorials. He asked Sui to draw a single portrait for him first, and then asked the queen to come and draw a double portrait for them. It took 2 days in total to complete the 2 portraits of the emperor. The emperor was very satisfied after taking a look at it and basically replicated his appearance one by one. Even the beard is clearly visible. The queen was also extremely satisfied. She was wearing a phoenix robe and a phoenix crown, and her aura as the mother of the country was captured in the painting. After the emperor and the empress saw it, they each bestowed rewards. Since the incorporation of the Yuantang industrial chain, the national treasury was filled in just 2 months, and all expenses of the harem were gradually restored. Therefore, the ladies became more generous in giving rewards. Looking at those silk fabrics, Sui decided to give the lighter ones to Suwon and the older ones to his mother. In the next few days, he would paint the ladies, starting with concubine Chen and going down in order. It would take 1 day to paint each lady. Moreover, some ladies had a lot of requests, such as making their faces smaller, their eyes bigger, and their faces thinner. Sui tried his best to meet their needs without going too far. Suiren has not returned yet, but the gold-plated lacquer plaque customized by the palace has been delivered to the Su mansion. Were written by the emperor himself. It was delivered, the Su family came out together to receive it, and then sent the plaque to the courtyard where Sui lived and helped him hang it in the center of the study. The study room in Sui's yard is the room he usually uses for painting. It is filled with scrolls, paints, and brushes of varying thicknesses. Inside a large blue and white porcelain jar are some of Sui's recent paintings that he was not satisfied with. When Su's mother looked at the plaque of Master Weiyang, her mouth almost cracked with laughter. "Oh, my youngest son is really amazing. He has become a great scholar." She clasped her hands together and looked up with a happy face. Suwon was watching her mother's behavior and found it funny, but she was also very happy. Happy for her 5th brother. "Mom, you're biased. Sui and I were born on the same day, so I am also your youngest son. Why don't you praise me like that?" Hearing this, Mother Su looked at the naughty boy next to her and pointed at his head. "You haven't been half as worry-free as your brother since you were little. Think about it yourself. Who got beaten the most when you were little? Besides, you were born 25 minutes earlier than I, so you're older than him. You're so beautiful." Su's mother said she disliked him, but she didn't really dislike him in her heart. People like Su Yun cannot be given sunshine. Once they are given sunshine, they will shine brightly. Okay, Su Yun finally understood that he was at the bottom of the food chain in this family, right? Mom, 4th brother is also very capable. He manages Chenglu so well. Even though it hasn't opened yet, many people have come to inquire about it. Once Chenglu opens, you can imagine how popular it will be. Su Yun's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that it was Suwon who spoke up for him at the critical moment. She really did, Su Yun cried to death. "Wan, you're the best. I love you so much." Suwon just felt that his 4th brother looked really pitiful, as he was always disliked by his mother, even though she only said it verbally. "You guys, especially your 3rd brother, you're so old and still don't want to get married. You just hang out with the guys in his city defense camp every day. How could any girl be interested in him? Qingli, you should go to Kyoto tomorrow and look for a suitable young lady for your 3rd brother. If there is one, please arrange a match for him. Our family doesn't care about family background. What matters most is that the person has good character and a good heart." Now, after worrying about the eldest and 2nd oldest, they start to worry about the 3rd oldest, and then the 4th and 5th oldest. There is simply no end to the worries. "Okay, mother. I will pay more attention to you. 3rd brother is kind and gentle, handsome and tall, and a great general who has served in the battlefield. There are many girls who want to marry him, but it depends on whether he likes it." Shun Qingli agreed immediately. She knew that it would be easy for the 3rd brother to find a wife, but she was afraid that he would not be willing. Suwon didn't stop him after hearing that. Although she could see that Jia Jia was interested in the 3rd brother, the 3rd brother was obviously not yet open to the world of love, so this matter could not be rushed. Jia Jia's identity is quite sensitive. If there is a chance, she would rather her 3rd brother get in touch with more girls so that he can know what he really wants. Soon, she had to go out again and made an appointment to meet Xiaonyang. They had not seen each other for half a year. When she arrived in Kyoto, Xiaonyang also brought her workshop to Kyoto. The main focus is companionship. Aiken is a really kind-hearted child. He has been honest since he was young. He rushes to do all the chores at home without any complaints. I know he is obedient, but this relationship is a lifelong matter. I don't want him to compromise. So, let him choose what he wants. I will accept it whether it is good or bad. Su's mother was supported by Shin Qingli and Su Wan and came out. When they arrived at the back garden, Nanny Lin, who was brought by Shin Qingli from the Shin family, came towards them. Madam, the third young master has returned and brought a girl with him. He is looking for you everywhere. When they heard that the third brother had brought a girl back, the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, aunt, and sister-in-law were all stunned.
Ah?
My son has come to his senses and knows to bring the girl back. The old mother was very happy to hear that. But Nanny Lin was in a dilemma. She said, Madam, I don't think she is a decent girl. She is dressed in rags. Judging from her appearance, she doesn't seem to be a girl from our Jin country. She looks more like a foreign girl. Outsider? What do you mean? When Su's mother heard the word outside, she naturally thought of those vicious and evil external enemies who were fighting against them. In an instant, all good feelings disappeared. Shin Qingli remained calm. Let us go and take a look. Third brother is not a reckless person. There must be a reason. After listening to Nanny Lin's description, Su-won immediately knew who it was. Probably Mimi. Some time ago, foreign prisoners of war were beheaded at the Meridian Gate, and the head of the leader of the Waya tribe was hung on the city gate for 7 days and 7 nights. Mimi also came back with the prisoners of war, but she saved her third brother and made a contribution to the battle. Her merits and demerits offset each other, so her life is not in danger. However, the sentence should not be much better. After all, she is an outsider woman and a member of the royal family. The three of them arrived at the front hall. Su Chen was sitting in his seat. There was a girl standing in the hall. From the back, she looked thin and ragged. She was taller than Su Wan and Shin Qingli, and her hair was vaguely curly. She was standing there trembling, like a frightened deer, looking around helplessly and vigilantly. She looked at Su Chen, but Su Chen just sat there calmly, waiting quietly, without even looking at her. Third brother, I heard you were looking for us? Shin Qingli helped Su's mother in and asked with a smile, glancing at the girl subtly. When passing by her, Su's mother took a special look at her. She did look like an outsider, and a very beautiful one at that. When he saw her face, Su Wan confirmed his guess. It was indeed Mimi. Her face was still beautiful after all these years, and her facial features became more profound and mature. If it weren't for her thin figure in normal conditions, she would be that kind of exotic beauty with all kinds of charm. When Mimi saw Su Wan, a look of surprise appeared on her face. It was that girl, the girl who saved herself together with General Su that year. Seeing that everyone was seated, Su Chen stood up and greeted Shin Qingli. Sister-in-law, her name is Mimi. She is the daughter of the former leader of the Wuyao tribe and a concubine's daughter. I was on the front line and accidentally fell into the enemy camp. Fortunately, she saved me and passed on the information. On the day of the emperor's judgment, she was spared, but she was demoted to servantry. Today, she was sold on the street by her former master and was about to be sent to a brothel. I redeemed her. Sister-in-law, please arrange a job for her in your house for her help in the past so that she can have a place to stay for the time being. Su Chen's move was reasonable, and Shin Qingli could not refuse this request. But she still looked at Su's mother and Su Wan, asking for their opinions with her eyes. When Su's mother heard that she had saved her son, her heart softened, and she felt a little pity for her. It was obvious that she agreed. Since he had been favored, he had to repay it. He was just giving him a place to stay. As long as he didn't cause any trouble, he would accept it. Shin Qingli thought about it, then looked at Mimi. The kitchen is still short of helpers, so you can go and work there. Nanny Lin, please make some arrangements. Wait for her to wash and change her clothes, and then get her some food and water. Let her rest for 2 days before you can start working. Shen Qingli was very thoughtful. Taking her status into consideration, she naturally could not arrange for her to appear in places such as the front yard or the garden where guests could be received. So the only convenient place was the back kitchen. For a girl, working in the kitchen may be a little inappropriate, but it is enough for a living. Picking vegetables and sweeping the floor are always easy tasks. Mimi worked as a servant girl for a while. After being bullied and looked down upon many times, she also learned some ways to survive. The first is to learn to please and keep your head down. She knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Sue's mother and Shen Qingli. Thank you, ma'am, for taking me in. Mimi is very grateful. Thank you also to General Sue for saving me. Mimi was always grateful for escaping the fate of going to a brothel. You have done a favor to my third brother, so it is only right for us to take you in. However, your current status is rather special, so we can only arrange for you to work in the kitchen. I hope you don't complain. Shen Qingli wanted to make it clear in advance that since she was a servant, she had to act like a servant. She did owe Su Chen a favor, but Su Chen had also just saved her from dire straits. Now the Su family had taken her in, but it was not convenient for her to appear in front of others, and she had to know her own limitations. I understand, ma'am. Mimi lowered her head, and tears as big as beans fell to the ground. Nanny Lin then took her away. After she left, Su Wan asked Su Chen, "Third brother, why was she sold a second time?" As far as she knew, a servant would only be sold a second time if she made a mistake. Su Chen had a conflicted expression and seemed unable to speak. I heard from the pawnbroker that she was accused by the mistress of her original owner's family of seducing the master, so they used the excuse of bribery to corrupt the harem and wanted to sell her to a brothel. I happened to see her struggling to escape while patrolling the streets, so I rescued her, but I didn't know where to send her, so I could only bring her back. So that's how it is. Su-won would rather believe that it was the master of that family who had bad intentions towards her, rather than her trying to charm him, which didn't seem likely. Looking at her appearance, it doesn't look like she can live a stable life. If she doesn't look for others, others will take the initiative to cause trouble for her. Alas, she was born in the wrong family. There is nothing we can do about it. Mother Su could only sigh like this. Not long after, Nanny Lin also came back, and Shen Qingli gave her additional instructions. Mammy, you, and the people in the kitchen should be alert. Try not to let her walk around in the front yard on weekdays, especially when there are guests. She has a special status, so don't ruin the general's reputation. But don't be mean to her on weekdays, understand? I understand, ma'am. I will tell them. Nanny Lin replied with a smile and stood on her left side consciously. Seeing how she handled the situation, Sue's mother nodded with satisfaction. To have a reliable and sensible daughter-in-law. At that time, Madame Shin was worried about her daughter being alone in the Su mansion, so she arranged for a capable nanny to accompany her. After she got married, she had to have a confidant to serve her. Although she might not need to engage in intrigue in the Su family, it would be helpful to help share worries and solve problems on a daily basis. Every family has trivial matters to deal with, and many of them can pose hidden dangers if not handled properly. Shen Qingli is thoughtful and considerate of everyone in the family. If it were Zhao Xiyun in the original novel, she would probably make a big fuss and scold Su Chen for bringing cats and dogs home to attract attention, and would kick him out.
Thank you, sister-in-law.
Su Chen stood up again and greeted her. You're welcome. We're all family. Why should we be so formal? Shen Qingli smiled, covering her lips with a handkerchief. In the afternoon, Su-won went to meet Xiaonyang. The meeting place was no longer a restaurant, but a small house that Xiaonyang bought in Kyoto. I found this place with Luyun Luing. It has 2 courtyards and is about the same size as Jiangyu's Farong cottage, but it is well maintained, with flowers and plants neatly trimmed. There are only a few maids and servants cleaning the courtyard. Su-won arrived at the front yard, but didn't see anyone, so he went to the backyard and stood under the round arch, just in time to see this scene. Xiaonyang was lying on a lounge chair in the yard, and Foaming was fawning on her, bringing a plate of fruits and feeding them to her one by one. How is it to your liking this time? It would be better if it could be a little more sour. Xiaonyang said pickily, and then took another bite of sour dried apricots. Fengming watched her talking one word at a time and felt that the saliva in his mouth was secreting rapidly and his brows were furrowed as if he was about to pinch an ant to death. He soon realized that there were several pairs of eyes looking at them. The sharp-eyed person turned around and glanced over and found that the person coming was Miss Su. He quickly put away his seriousness and stood up. "The princess is here." When Xiaonyang heard that Su-won had come, she supported herself and climbed up from the chair. Seeing this, Fengming quickly reached out to help her. Slow down, slow down. The boss is here. Please sit down. Would you like some sour dried apricots and sour plum cakes?" Today, Xiaonyang has taken off her heavy makeup and looks gentle and simple. As I got closer, the air was filled with the smell of dried apricots and plum cakes, all of which smelled sour. "You are pregnant?" Su-won boldly guessed that all the signs proved that Xiaonyang was pregnant. Otherwise, why would Fengming be so worried about her and eat so much sour food? Xiaonyang didn't expect Su-won to be so direct, so she simply nodded. "It's been almost a month, and I've been suffering from severe morning sickness lately." Xiaonyang touched her belly lovingly. "That's pretty fast, Fengming. It's only been less than 3 months, right?" He followed Jiangyu down from the front line, and the child is already 1 month old. Fengming scratched his head embarrassedly, not knowing whether the princess was praising him or insulting him. He was indeed proud, though, that he had a family now. Heard him call Xiaonyang sister. That year, she smelled something unusual. It turned out to be just as she expected. It's just that this generation is too easy to please, isn't it? Xiaonyang blushed for a rare moment, and her whole body exuded a maternal glow. "By the way, master, when can we drink the wedding wine of you and the prince?" As soon as Xiaonyang sat down, she started gossiping about this matter. Su-won thought of Jiangyu and couldn't help but frown. "It's almost there. It should be soon. If nothing unexpected happens, it will be next year at the latest." Fengming took the initiative to leave space for the two to talk, but he avoided it and ran to guard the door. "I've been in Kyoto for so long and I finally see you. You don't know how good the business of Kyoto Bingjitang is. Don't tell me. The emperor's feet are prosperous, and there are few poor people coming and going." Xiaonyang spoke truthfully about her inner feelings and what she saw with her own eyes. "I came to see you today to give you a new recipe which my second brother recently developed."
Take a look at it.
Su-won took out the recipe given by his second brother and the box of ointment and showed them to her. Xiaonyang picked up the box of green facial paste and smelled it. It had a fresh herbal fragrance, without the pungent smell of traditional Chinese medicine. Instead, it made people feel extremely comfortable after smelling it. "What's the name of this?" As for the name, Su-won had never really thought about it. "It hasn't been named yet. This is for treating acne on the face. If you don't have it, it can also improve your skin. You can choose the name. Don't make the price too expensive. Make it affordable." Xiaonyang nodded as she listened, and silently took note of her request. Since it was developed by the little genius doctor, it must be a good thing. Sumu was very famous in the Jiangnan area. The epidemic made him famous. In Kyoto, anyone who was not ignorant knew that the miracle Dr. Sun Beidou had a single disciple, known as the Little Miracle Doctor, but no one knew that this person was Su Mu from the Su family. "I am not in good health now, so I may not be able to do many things myself, but the people under me are trustworthy and have been working with me for many years." Xiaonyang is pregnant now. It is not convenient for her to move around in the early stages, and she has to focus on taking care of the fetus. No wonder Fengming no longer follows Jiangyu. His personal bodyguard is now Anan. I guess he took a special leave to come back to be with his wife. The two of them have already gone through the paperwork at the government office and had a simple wedding ceremony, inviting Fengming's secret guard brothers and Xiaonyang's sisters. The two sides match themselves up. If there are people of similar age and who are attracted to each other, they can try to be together. Following the young master, each of them has grown up already. Although the young master provides food, accommodation, and money, he does not guarantee a wife for them. These brothers hang out together day by day. It is impossible for them to fall in love with each other, right? There have been more than a dozen pairings, but most of the brothers still have no place to go for the rest of their lives. It's up to you. My current status makes it even more inconvenient for me to move around, but I believe in you. I didn't bring you any supplements this time. I'll ask Luyan to send some to you tomorrow. Before she came, she didn't know that Xiaonyang was pregnant. Otherwise, there would be so many delicious and nourishing blood swallows, peach gum, etc. in the mansion. She would have brought whatever she had. Okay, then I won't be polite with you. We are so familiar with each other. This sour dried apricot is really good. It's not sour at all. If you don't believe me, try it. Xiaonyang brought the plate to her. Suwon looked at the dried apricots in it. They were so good in color and quite appetizing. He really believed her and picked up a piece and started eating. The taste was so sour and numb that Suwon's face twisted into a mask of pain in an instant, and her saliva glands were almost dysfunctional due to the sour taste. Seeing her reaction, Xiaonyang was a little confused and handed her a handkerchief. Is it really that exaggerated? I think it's okay, not that sour. Suwon wiped his mouth, looked at her resentfully, and complained, Sister, you are suffering from morning sickness and acidophilia, so of course you don't find it hard to accept. Xiaonyang smiled embarrassedly when she heard this.
Sorry, boss.
I'll ask Fengying to bring you something sweet to neutralize the pain. Don't bother me. I'm leaving now. I won't disturb your world of two. If you have anything, please contact Luyan. You just take good care of it. Suwon stood up and prepared to leave. He had taken a bite of sour apricot and still hadn't recovered from it. Fourth Brothers Qinglu is about to open, so he brings Suwon to see it. The location is very prosperous, with a total of 3 floors. This time there is an additional element, that is, the 3rd floor is uniformly in the form of private rooms, and there is a minimum consumption requirement. Suwon's suggestion is that each private room has a dedicated one-to-one service. That is to say, after booking, the host will dine inside, and a waiter will be arranged outside to be responsible for the service inside. Pouring tea, setting the table, making tea and brewing tea, the waiters are proficient in all kinds of tea ceremonies. Anyway, as long as you are willing, you don't have to do it yourself. However, the minimum consumption for a private room is 50 taels. There are 12 private rooms in total. Every day at noon and in the evening, each room can only accommodate 1 table of guests. Reservations must be made before coming. This is specially designed for senior officials to entertain and discuss business with each other. It is very private and of high standard. Of course, the price is clearly marked, and those who are willing to take the bait will do so. The 2nd floor is an open-style compartment separated by screens. The one facing the street is a standard seat for 4 people with a hollow space in the middle, while the one facing the hall is a standard seat for 2 people. The 1st floor is the lobby with a stage in the middle. Singers and musicians are invited to perform every day, and the sounds of stringed instruments are pleasant to the ears. However, there was no dance to appreciate. Suwon said, "Why would a serious restaurant that does catering have any dancing? If you want to watch dance, go to Qinlu Chuguan. It's good to have music to listen to." The Yuejis invited are all national-level singers. In short, their techniques are very good and pleasing to the eye. With such a large scale, a lot of money can be earned in a month. Suyun will donate a certain amount of silver to the court on a regular basis every year, which is equivalent to ensuring safety and using money to ward off disasters. By Suwon, Suyun is no longer concerned about how much money he can make. What matters most is his passion. As long as the money left over every year is enough for the family's expenses, it will be enough. Many round tables on the 1st floor, with 6, 8, and 12 seats. There are all standard seats, and of course there are seats for 4 people. What do you think? Is the Chenglu in Kyoto much more impressive than the Chenglu in Xiangzhou? Suyun stood with his hands behind his back, wearing very expensive clothes. He really looked like a big boss. Land in Kyoto is very expensive, and restaurants are competing with each other to see who can spend more on decoration. Everyone comes for the good environment, good food, and good service. Suguan combines the service quality of the modern catering industry and incorporates some fresh elements. It is very novel and eye-catching for Kyoto people, and they all want to try it unconsciously. Thank goodness for your advice. Chenglu can stand out among so many peers. You are really smart in doing business. Su Yun was very satisfied looking at his Chenglu, running errands and doing odd jobs in the front of the building. They rented a yard and arranged accommodation for everyone. The environment is pretty good. It's a 4-person room with a yard, a kitchen, and a living room. In short, if you want your subordinates to work hard when doing business, you must first show them how good you are as a boss, rather than just making empty promises. The taste is the most important. Everything else is secondary. So, fourth brother, you are still the one who has made the most contribution. If the food is not delicious, it will be useless no matter how fancy you make it. So, believe in yourself. You are the one who has put the most effort into Chenglu. Su-won always adheres to one belief about fourth brother. You have to praise him when you should and criticize him when you should, otherwise fourth brother will easily become arrogant. However, when it comes to professional matters, we still have to give him absolute affirmation and support and not let him lose confidence. As Su-won expected, Su-yun immediately became proud after she praised him. That's because there aren't many people with my talent. Come on, where do you put fifth brother? Su-won felt that in terms of talent it was Su-yi. Every profession has its specialties. I'm only talking about cooking. Please don't get me confused, okay? Su-yun said proudly. He admitted that Lao Wu's talent was unquestionable, but he did not want to compete with him in painting. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Have you released the news that Chenglu will open the day after tomorrow? They released him and even posted a notice at the city gate. I begged my third brother for a long time before he agreed to let me post it. Su Chun was in the city defense camp. He said he wanted to borrow the bulletin board at the city gate, but he insisted that this was abusing his power for personal gain. He wondered how big a deal it was. It was just a piece of paper. Finally, he threatened him that if he did not agree, he would expose an ugly incident from his childhood.